Yeah. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Woke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the sex, you ain't trenching enough. Whoa, we do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Whoa, Shizzy and Jaggle beat. OnChain revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain revolution, here to stay. Yeah, Sam Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah, Nicky's. Yeah, OnChain revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Ordinal's the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin and crypto ecosystems. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for another OnChain hour, and today is going to be absolutely insane because what we have going on in the next few hours is absolutely game-changing, right? So first we have Jerome Powell speaking at 12:30. I think he's going to be absolutely dovish, just my opinion. And then at, I think, around 1:30 today, we have this amazing Trump inaugural event that will be yearly. They're calling it right now the White House Crypto Summit. And that's happening around 1:30 today. And then what happened yesterday was absolutely insane. Trump signed a strategic Bitcoin reserve saying that they will not be selling any of the Bitcoin. I could have sworn they did this already, but it is what it is. And I guess it happened again. But now it's officially a reserve in the asset. And, you know, China's sitting on just the same amount of Bitcoin as the US is. Are they thinking about doing the same thing? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. We've got so much to cover. So let's kind of get into it right now. Bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yago B. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's up, man? Monster of a day. And it's Friday. So you know what could happen? We could have a $10,000 red candle, or we can go up. We'll see. What are you thinking?
I am thinking that they are really playing a lot of these liquidation games, these, liquidation shopping. It sounds like, right? Yesterday, as soon as that EO hit Twitter, crypto Twitter, we saw a huge red candle, as you mentioned. And then today we got all the way back to 91,000, and then another huge candle. And the crazy thing is that we opened the bell at 9:30 Eastern, going up and being pretty aggressive there, with only to have a huge red candle come and bring us below 90,000 again. We're sitting at 88. So it's a lot of games happening with this price action. I'm almost in the mindset of maybe they want to clear out some of this degeneracy before heading up and clearing out leverage. And I don't know what's going on, but all I do know is it's extremely volatile right now.
Yeah, I actually think that maybe Bybit is trying to get some of their money back, just because of the fact that you have a $1,200 candle up, and then exactly a 1,200-hour candle down. Like it just seems so like organized. Like it's I don't know, but let's kind of get into our first topic today. President Trump signs executive order officially creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I kind of want to show this real quick because, and then ask you some questions about it because it didn't seem like Trump really knew what was going on with this. Let me play it right now. Can you see it? Let me know if you can hear it.
Executive order establishing.
Yep.
Today we're signing, this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in?
100%, yeah.
Okay. Very good. And we made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that happened. He doesn't seem to really give a shit about Bitcoin. He made a promise. He's keeping it. He cares about that, and he cares about David Sachs's opinion. So yeah. So what do you think about that? What do you think about it?
That reminded me of whenever I was in high school and early college days of helping my mother kind of understand something that she's like either signing up for or something, right? So that was pretty fun. That's why I chuckled in there or during that video. But look, I think the biggest point here is he has put people around him this go around that he trusts.
Yeah.
So that is, although it kind of seems like, he's kind of reassuring him, getting reassurance saying you believe in this, right? But it is true that this go around, that was his goal, is to put people around him that he can trust and feels like they're on the same path of success for the country. And so I'm bullish on that.
Yeah, I think she truly feels that David Sachs is trying to do what's best for the United States of America, and he wants what's best for the United States of America. So, in that sense, that sometimes you don't understand something, but you have very rich friends who do, right? So I don't know, but yeah, let's kind of jump to the next thing here. President Trump is scheduled to host the first ever White House Crypto Summit today, March 7th, 2025, at the White House. The summit is set to begin at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There was something saying Trump Crypto Summit will discuss adding Bitcoin and 4 other coins to the U.S. Strategic Reserve. And then Wow Insider reported just in U.S. no capital gains tax exemptions expected at the White House Crypto Summit. So basically saying like it's not going to happen. They're not going to announce the crypto tax, not going through or something like that. So, what do you think about this event? Period.
Yeah. So I'm confused with that. So you're saying that is not going to be an announcement, right?
Yeah. No capital gains tax exemptions expected. So there's going to be. So everyone was kind of expecting an announcement for them to kind of say crypto capital gains tax. You hold for more than a year, no tax on your Bitcoin. They're not expected to say this at this event.
Okay. Oh, that stinks. But yeah, I'm not sure what other announcements they can be making, right? They've already announced this Bitcoin strategic reserve, kind of saying, hey, we're not going to sell what we have. I guess they could, I don't know what else they could do here. Maybe announce some sort of like outside investments. That could be something, like Justin Sun has been really involved with what we're doing here, which is smart on his side. He's going to be, I believe, partaking in the gold card, right? And kind of seems like he wants to be a major crypto force in the U.S. So maybe some sort of outside investment coming into the U.S. would be something big. We'll see. I think that could be a big positive. There's multiple announcements, from international crypto companies saying, "Hey, we're gonna pour into the U.S." or something like that.
Yeah. Would you be disappointed with no announcement? Just a little party for Trump and his friends?
Yeah, I mean, like that would be giving a lot of people the reasons to scratch their head and be like, what was this? I think that would be like a sales and news event for over the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't like go into I think it was like last Friday we showed that chart. It was like 5 out of the last 7 Fridays have just been terrible, and I hope this isn't another one. but we'll see.
Yeah.
So the U.S. government currently holds around 198,109 Bitcoin, worth 17.7 billion through seizures for
Forfeitures.
forfeitures in criminal cases, according to data from Arkham. So there is the Arkham data chart here, and it actually shows all of the stuff here. So they have 17 billion in Bitcoin,
Woo!
122 million in USDT, 121 million in ETH, $66 million in wrapped Bitcoin, 24 million in BNB, 13 million in AUSD, WBNB 13 million, and 11 million in USDC. So they're holding, this is all the crypto that has been seized from criminal, enterprises and stuff like that, because this is huge money. But they're taking this Bitcoin and they're officially locking it up in this reserve asset, according to this. So, but the loophole again is they don't need Congress approval on this because they're not buying any Bitcoin. They're not using taxpayer money to buy any Bitcoin. It's just locking up. I thought we already did this though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think there was an executive order that was signed for it, right? So
I
you're
got
basically
you.
saying, hey, look, this is going to be kind of like an executive order, which is like a law in the sense, that can be flipped and switched back. But this is one of the executive orders that he has signed. So I do think it makes that more official that, okay, we're not going to sell down anymore. So that might make the industry more comfortable about that, at least. So now it's kind of like going up in terms of what we hold versus, going the other direction for our balances.
Yeah, 100%. David Bailey says Trump delivered on all his promises. What an absolute G. So yeah, I mean, he has, right? Like this, this is actually further on his promise, like, because he said at the convention that we were both at in Nashville that he was going to stockpile Bitcoin, right? Nothing about strategic reserve, and he actually went past that, and now we are sitting on a strategic reserve signed in the law.
Yeah, he's done a lot, right? So one thing that we got to remember too is people were complaining about there wasn't any information about purchasing new Bitcoin, but you have to remember, like, to do that, they said they don't want to use tax dollars, so they definitely don't want to tax the public, and they're gonna have to figure out how they can do that with the budget. That's not an easy thing. You got to figure that out. You got to figure out what, if that's going to happen, where is it going to come from, and where is it going to come from to where the opposition is not going to sit there on like every news network and scream, oh, we're wasting money, we're supposed to be, more efficient and all this stuff. But keep in mind that Texas just approved their Bitcoin strategic reserve. So the more, and Texas is the 8th largest economy in the world, right? So that's a huge deal, right? So them starting to acquire Bitcoin for their reserve is going to like really have a viral effect, I think, throughout the other states and eventually hit the federal level, I believe.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. I don't know why I don't have this in the news thing, but yeah, let's talk about it. Yesterday, Texas, they voted and approved that. We did talk about it yesterday. I think that's why I got confused and maybe didn't put it, but it actually got accepted later. Later in the day yesterday, correct?
Yes. Yep. It passed.
So what's the next steps? Now, I guess they get a plan together, right? Whether they're going to buy the ETF or buy whatever. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing will be headlines that start coming out from Texas. Okay, like Texas has added such and such amount to their strategic reserve. Texas has added this and that. And then once you start to see that, other states, I think, will start to FOMO. And then they'll probably start trying to move their plans along.
Yeah. There is one idea that I don't think you would need Congress approval on. Sell down the gold reserves to buy Bitcoin. There's some they could do that. They're going to Fort Knox to see if that gold is there and real. And then if it is, I mean, potentially, what if you just took half, put that into Bitcoin, right? So I'd be down for that.
I'm not sure. There has to be some oversight with that though, like checks and balances to where someone can't just sell down like an entire amount of gold reserve.
So that's true. Yep. So another tweet from David Bailey here. He says, I stated that China is conducting closed-door meetings regarding a strategic reserve. If China adopts a Bitcoin reserve strategy by utilizing the 195,000 Bitcoin seized from Plus token, it could rival the US 198,000 Bitcoin valued at over 17 billion. So they're both valued at around 17 billion. China is sitting on a crap load of Bitcoin, just like the US is from seizures. And this is kind of the chart here. The US number 1, China number 2, UK 3, Ukraine 4. It's crazy that Ukraine has so much Bitcoin. I was thinking about that, and then obviously Bhutan, we know who's mining it now, and then El Salvador as well, who's sitting there. So El Salvador, look at El Salvador, man. Top 6 countries that have Bitcoin, pretty crazy.
Yeah, but more surprising than that is Bhutan.
Yeah.
They announced that they're going to be very serious about strategic reserve for their country, and they have a really great, like, I think, trade situation. I'm not sure which country it is, but like to where they have really good GDP, and so that part, I guess, doesn't surprise me as much. But first, being such a small country and not being in the headlines so much, right? Like they're in the headlines once in a blue moon, but El Salvador being right below them, and then Finland. Ukraine actually has a lot of like Bitcoin OG people, so I'm not too shocked with them. But like for them to be that high, that is a little bit, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting to see this, and how this is going to change over the next 10 years is going to be something to keep your eye on.
Yeah. If China does do this, right, just kind of copies off, they say we're locking ours in there. We already planned on it anyway, but it's official. We're locking in it to our strategic reserve. If you're this guy down here who just sold at $50,000 of Bitcoin, who just sold $40 billion worth, which would be worth $80 billion today. You would be number 3 there, Germany, if you weren't such I guess you say paper hands.
Ill-advised.
Yeah, ill-advised, paper hands. Yeah. So how do you think they feel right now?
I think that this is probably like down on the priority list for them. They got a lot of other stuff that they probably are dealing with right now. Changing of administration with new political party, all those kind of things, dealing with like the whole Ukraine thing. But one thing I think that people should keep their eyes on with that chart that you just showed, where the top 2 are well far ahead of number 3, and the top 2 are the 2 top powers in the world. So that to me just screams bullishness for Bitcoin, because both of these, like, one could be wrong and one could be right? But here they're both on the same side, and they're both the biggest 2 world power competitors. So you can't say that, like, if you're not bullish on Bitcoin looking at this chart, then something's not computing upstairs.
Yep. And one thing that's striking to me is there's 50, 60, 70 countries not on here, right? They're looking at US and China, and you're like, oh crap, like let's just buy a couple, like, so I don't know. We will see. But the big thing to this now is potentially 400,000 Bitcoin will never ever hit the markets, right? Like kind of locked up forever in a way, right? Which is even crazier. So jump to the next thing here. Elizabeth Warren presses Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, for public disclosures, citing potential conflicts of interest in the administration's digital asset policies. What do you think about little Elizabeth Warren here, forcing them to kind of show what is in David Sachs's bag? Or Sachs?
Yeah, well, that was interesting play on words there. But this is not. This is very hypocritical, in my opinion, when there's been obviously a ton of insider trading happening in DC for so long. But in the end, like, I do think that it's going to be a good thing to just be transparent for people that are working in Washington, especially people that are involved with this, just to make the public feel at ease. But Washington should have been doing this, like with stocks. And I know that they say, oh, we're you can see all our portfolios, but I think it's more about like, okay, there was stuff that people were questioning that never got further, right? So if you're not going to take it further, then what's the point? You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, okay, like Nancy Pelosi is literally the top like 5% best trader in the world right now, right? Okay, she obviously doesn't know anything. It's what I mean. So
she knows everything.
Something.
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. But I meant about like the fundamentals of trading stocks. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, what's going to happen? Are people actually going to be held accountable other than just showing what you have? Because that's going to be important.
Yeah, and to your point, she she makes about $280,000 a year, and she's sitting on $64 million net worth, right? So it's like, I'm guessing these bank speeches are very profitable. when you're making $1 million for
Yeah.
a speech right?
Are you talking about Pelosi?
Well, both of them really.
Yeah, I
Pelosi,
think
they do
Warren's
speeches. Warren does
67.
speeches.
She's
Yeah.
67 million. Pelosi's like 150 or something like that.
Yeah,
which is wild.
I was talking about Warren there
Okay,
because of the thing here, but yeah. But jump to the next thing here. NASDAQ plans to launch 24-hour trading on equities exchange in the second half of 2026, pending regulatory approval. NASDAQ is taking what Eric Trump said on Sunday to heart here. I mean, it's crazy that it's 5 days later from that tweet that they're putting this out there. It could have been already in the plans, and just right now they're kind of launching it. But what do you think about being able to trade Nvidia on a Sunday?
I think that takes a little bit of probably market share back from crypto a little bit, right? But we'll see if it gets approved because there is an advantage I think for crypto to have those 24/7 markets open. Another thing too that people have to realize that like the US, yes, there's international traders. There's a lot of money coming from international countries and stuff, but it's not the same kind of evenly split, I don't believe, at least from the crypto markets, right? So that just shows like how much money is still kind of from the US being held in the TradFi markets and how much upside potential that crypto has. But the 24-hour markets that definitely changes things a little bit. We're going to see how much of an effect it has for both the positive side of the TradFi markets and maybe a little bit of negative side on the crypto markets. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they get approved. It's not going to happen until second half of 2026. So there's definitely some time.
Yeah, and right now we know that the banking guys they start at 9 to 11. They go away from 11 to about 1, and they come back from 1 to 4, and so they're not even trading the full 8 hours that the market is open, right? So, and I don't think that JP Morgan's not going to open up a night shift to where they might. They might now think about it. Do you think that happens? Do you think these banks start having like 2 shifts of people now?
I don't think so. Not graveyard. No way. Like people that work in that market, no, I don't think so.
There's no market open. There's no market close. How do you go? You can't trade the bells no more. There is none.
Well, I think you still probably would keep like that 9 to 5 type of workflow, right? I just don't see people working graveyard shift for trading stocks, but you'll have your degen individual people, maybe some small companies. I don't know. And then in that case, probably make it global and also less barrier of entry and all that stuff. And if that's the case, then there's going to be really direct competition with crypto.
Dude, now these big boys for the first time can take part in low liquidity environments. Let's just say they were interested in jacking the price up at something at 1 a.m. They could do that now, right? Like that. There's no you can get as highly manipulated as Bitcoin is with the stocks now, and they're already highly manipulated between the hours of 9:30 and 4. Now imagine what happens when they're like these traders are just like, hey, drop $1 billion on Nvidia at 1 a.m. and we're all going to long it. You know what I mean? Like it could get serious, dude. It could get crazy with this. So we'll see.
Yeah. They don't use AMMs though, like crypto does. They, so
they use basically a centralized exchange. So they are using AMMs in a way, right? So it's basically the same way you would trade on Binance or Coinbase.
Well, I think they're just so that obviously supply and demand, but not liquidity pools and stuff like that, obviously, right? So, but look, they can shoot like
low liquidity environment means a few other things. Low liquidity environment means like not a lot of participants. There's not a lot of flowing
volume.
Order. So what happens in the stock market? It's bids and puts, right? So or was it bids, buys, and bids and something?
But the demand is so strong. The demand is so strong that it doesn't need AMMs, right? Because it's demanded this market for over 100 years.
You gotta think what AMM stands for, automatic market makers. So there's market makers. But my point is the market makers aren't going to be up at 1 a.m. to market make. So there's not going to be a lot of orders on the order book. So you could potentially really highly manipulate this, right? The market makers
pushing one way or the other.
Yeah, like you could really, like these guys will have, and especially with the environment we're in with Trump, like you could really like. It's about to get crazy, dude. It's about to get crazy. It's going to get nuts. Like the handcuffs are off some of these banks at this point. Like it's like, go ahead, go make money. So we'll see what happens. Unemployment rate came out this today, and everyone was really expecting this. I was listening to the stock podcast this morning, and these guys were like, "What could happen? You could see a monster dip or a monster pump today." And it came in at like 4.1. Estimated was 4. Prior was 4. So not much going on here. It did go up a little tiny bit week over week, but people are waiting for the Washington D.C. stuff to kind of come through. We do know that like houses are going up in Washington D.C. like no other. Like they are just going on the market. You can actually get houses in D.C. cheaper than pretty much any state right now, or at any city, any major city right now. It's really really cheap, like $200,000-$300,000 for these nice homes that like in Pennsylvania would be 600 grand, because a lot of people are either getting ready to leave the city or they got fired, right? Because all those jobs, all those federal buildings are about to be sold, and this is going to get crazy. But everyone's kind of waiting for these numbers to actually be seen in the unemployment data because they're not yet.
I saw the map. I think it was a Zillow map, and it's absolutely nuts in the DC area, the metro DC area. So that a lot of the housing market, it's probably going to it's already probably caused a crash over there, right? In that specific area. I don't think it trickles out though. There's a specific reason why it's happening, like you just mentioned. But yeah, I was watching the news this morning, and they were talking about how the federal government employment downsizing it will probably continually affect our numbers, but there's going to be a point where that calms down, right? But also some of these other companies, just like private companies, are also going through a process right now too. I'm hearing this a lot. So maybe it's just kind of like this first like initial shift, which would be good for private and government just to kind of do it together, so we can get that out of the way and kind of reestablish like this new kind of new ground, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. So it could get crazy. But we have some really big news events next week. We'll get into that in a second. But Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is scheduled to speak at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time at the U.S. Monetary Policy Forum in New York City. This is something he does yearly, so it's not out of the blue. That's in an hour from right now. Do you think he's going to say anything? I think he's dovish. I think he doesn't want to spook any markets right now, especially because they're really walking on eggshells. So I think he's going to be very dovish in the sense of either not saying much at all or maybe really not even like answering questions. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a very sensitive situation. A lot of people are speculating that like, the globalists are trying to hold down the U.S. markets and stuff because of everything that's happening from geopolitical level. But like one person that has a lot of power is the Fed chair, right? And so I think he's taking this very seriously because he can affect the markets, kind of jump on this cascading of the markets coming down, or not necessarily manipulate it back up, but just take this sensitive approach and watch what he says, right? So if, last time he spoke, he definitely sounded dovish. We'll see if it continues.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting it, but we'll see what happens. But next week is absolutely huge for all markets. So Wednesday, March 12th, 8:30 a.m. CPI year over year. Next Thursday, March 13th, 8:30 a.m. core PPI year over year. And then the following week, on March 19th, the FOMC will release a statement at 2 p.m. We're about to get a lot of significant data in the next 2 weeks. And I'm actually in the camp of this is going to ignite a bull run in all markets. I think we're really going to see the dollar start dripping out and money being pouring in the risk on assets here. What do you think?
I hope so. A lot of people are expecting some good numbers to come in, right? Or and also just I guess expecting for the rate cut to come, right? And the CPI is going to be a very important number to see how they kind of maneuver and stuff. When is the actual rate cut date or the rate decision for that?
Right here, 2 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big day. That March 25th is still kind of that date that a lot of people have been talking about, right? For the M2 money supply and stuff. So this leads up to that. I will say though, the past couple of days, like with the volatility, the same people calling for the March 25th date in the M2 money supply are kind of just like they're still bullish sounding, but they get thrown off a little bit whenever they see like a like $4,000 red candle. But I think like there's a lot of catalysts that are ready to help kind of prop that up here for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, I agree. The last thing here before we get into fear and greed. So Tucker Carlson had Sam Bankman-Fried is doing 25 years behind bars and now sharing a cell block with Diddy. So I watched this whole interview, and dude, I feel bad for Sam. I know people are gonna like scold me for saying this, but like he was, a young kid in control of billions of dollars. He made some really bad decisions. He was jacked up on Adderall. Tucker Carlson straight up told him, he was like, I did interviews preparing for this, and you seem to be really out of your brain. Like your mouth, you couldn't stop moving in the one interview. And Sam basically came out and said, yeah, I was on a lot of different things, Adderall being one of them, and I wasn't in the right brain, and I made a lot of bad decisions. And it got me a little bit. I kind of feel for Sam a little bit. You know what I mean? I know, some mistakes are unforgiven. He cost a lot of people a lot of money. He potentially caused a huge drop in prices again, liquidating a lot of people. Just made a lot of really bad decisions, and bad decisions get you behind bars. But watching this though, I was just like, I just felt bad for him as a person. But I know the shit that he was doing, something with the Democrats and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. How do you feel about Sam Bankman right now?
A young guy, right? Obviously made a bunch of bad decisions. Initially, he made a lot of good personal decisions to get him there, right? And I think he's smart, and I think he just was in a really look, how old was he whenever he in 2022? I don't know how old he was, but
yeah,
having that much power at that age is really can get to your head, and I think that's probably what he went through. At the end of the day, he's paying the price for it. I don't know really how to feel in terms of like his future. I'm not going to comment on that, but I think he's basically paying the price right now, and
yeah,
that's how I feel about it. And I'll leave it there.
yeah. He was like 29, 30 in 20 when it crashed. He's 32 now. He's born in 1992. So yeah, I don't know, but it's just funny. Him and Diddy are in the same cell, and it's like what Diddy did. Like
You think they did that on purpose? That's so weird, right? Did they do that on purpose?
They're both waiting trial in New York. I think it's just
Okay.
like, so I don't know. So I mean, I think it's like, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to touch Diddy thing, but with Sam, I don't know. I just felt like, but you can say the same thing about what's his name, the
Ross.
Silk Road guy, Ross. He made a lot of mistakes, right? A lot of really, really bad decisions, and because he used Bitcoin and really started, an initiative. That's the only reason why he's out, is because he created a platform that people could buy and sell drugs on, and you could buy hitmen on. He bought a hitman like from an undercover cop. Like he made a lot of really bad decisions. And he did pay 10 years. Maybe Sam needs to take 10, 15 years off and then see what happens in there.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
see.
you could also buy a PlayStation 2 with the Bitcoin on there too, right? That was kind of the initial purpose, was to be able to buy and sell goods or services or whatever.
Yeah.
And that with the ethos of Bitcoin, no KYC needed, all that stuff. And it just wasn't smart
you
to
can
do that
buy
at
a
that time.
PlayStation on eBay. Like you don't need to use a decentralized,
True.
you know what I mean? Like
True.
drugs and stuff, you can't go to eBay and buy. So what do you think this site's going to be used for? Right. So
yeah. And being young and saying, oh, okay, I'm sure he was looking at the fees and saying, okay, I'm going to make money off of this and all whatever and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like it was the wrong decision, obviously, because he went to jail for a long time. You just can't, just because you believe in something that might seem like, free and freedom and stuff like that, doesn't mean it's the right thing to do at the time.
yeah, 100%. Jump to the fear and greed here. Last week was a 16. Yesterday was a 25. We're actually doing pretty good. We're still in fear, so that'll be my hint for you. I think 40 gets you out of fear, but right now we're a little bit under 40, but we're higher than yesterday's
37.
Pretty close. 34. Yeah, right. You were right there, but yeah. So right now we're at 87,000, around 87K. So not bad for 87K. I'm really hoping by next Wednesday, next Thursday, we're in the green again. So we'll see. All right. Let's get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura is building something really cool, leverage trading platform. You'll be able to go long, go short, and potentially some of your favorite Bitcoin assets. They already told us, hey, we're going to list Ordi, potentially Sats, and a lot more down the line. These guys are going to be the they're going to be big. I struggle when I say, stuff like they're going to be big as what's that big guy?
Hyperliquid.
Hyperliquid, right? But I think they're going to build something pretty close to it. They're going to be using Bitcoin layer 2s, and they're going to actually be putting out a product that a lot of people are going to use. And the best part about that, if you go long on something like Hyperliquid, you're probably not going to get an airdrop again, right? But this time on Artura, potentially could get an airdrop. They want to actually enrich their community. So by using Artura.finance today on the testnet, you're actually putting yourself in a raffle to receive a prize. And then their paper trading competition starts in a few weeks. That is where you're going to be able to really get involved and really earn some of their potential token. That could be their governance token and much more. But look out for that. And everyone should just go over to Artura.finance this weekend, start an account. We will be doing a tutorial on Sunday. So that will probably be put out on Monday for you guys. So step by step. It's really easy. You can figure it out yourself. But if you need a little extra help, we got you.
Exactly. And before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, if you could help us out on the YouTube side, hit that like for us. That really helps us out with the algorithm, I believe, at least. And then make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, hit that like for us, share the space so we can educate, onboard as many people to the space as possible. And on the abstract side, if you could share the stream, that would be great. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action. I'm going to use the Artura.finance charts here because they are working very well. This is the hour chart, as you can see. Man, like the volatility seriously is too much at this point, guys. Like it's day to day, man, literally day to day, and dropping, thousands of dollars, $2,000 to $5,000, $6,000 every drop. So I don't know to be bullish or bearish because it literally changes. You know what I mean? So right here, which was yesterday at 6 a.m. We got all the way back up to like 93,000. As soon as the bell rang right around here, right around this area, and bam, they wanted to take it down further. And it got even worse. Like in the evening, okay, we started balancing kind of back out. And then once the executive order was signed, that was the weird, huge red candles, right? So a lot of people are saying it's because Trump, didn't put that they were going to purchase more. Whatever. At the end of the day, like I didn't think it deserved what you're going from 90,000 to a $5,000 drop. That was ridiculous, right? And then overnight, of course, we do it again. Build back up, right? Kind of backing back up from that 85,000. This is really like all the longs that got liquidated on that chart that I was showing you yesterday, saying I don't know if there is a lot here, but it would take a lot to get there. And they said, okay, here, hold my beer, and then they did it, right? And so
Yeah.
overnight we built back up. This is another thing, just throws me up. Okay, cool. We almost hit 91K. And it was actually even after like the bell rang, right? And then decided to bring it back. And that's where we're sitting right now, 88,000, guys. So, I don't really know what to tell you guys in terms of what to expect for today. There is this crypto ball or event that's supposed to be really fun. If there's no like major announcements, that's the thing I think with this one. The other ones kind of expected big announcements. This one, people are like, we don't know what to expect. So maybe if we do get something that's really bullish, there'll be some bullish activity. But I would say just don't expect anything at this point. Just no expectations. Just observe until things balance back out and get more stable. But if you want to use the indicators, it seems like probably right at the top of the bell there, it was a good idea to short, because you can see right here we have headed below the overbought territory into kind of that midsection on the hour chart. So the hour chart gives you a 4 to 8 hour kind of forecast here. You can see the buy pressure is weakening. You see that blue MACD line that I talk about a lot. It's pointing down pretty much. Like, so, I do expect, we did wick all the way to 87.3, but probably expect us to maybe chop down a bit more until maybe later tonight, whenever, they have some announcements. I'm not sure, guys, honestly. I will say though, something that I'm doing is completely staying out, just watching. I want to see stabilization. That's what I want to see. Or like an aggressive pull up to the point to where of no return type of situation. And that might have to wait towards the end of this month, because that's what people are talking about, right? So let me pull this back. All right, so that's the hour chart. And then this is the 4 hour chart that I was speaking about yesterday, saying we really kind of need to see how the rest of yesterday plays out. And it played out like, with the dump from the executive order, like what we thought. And then this morning, you can see like it was heading down here. The MACD on the 4-hour was heading down. And then we had this morning that said, oh, maybe not. And then now we have down further. So yeah, like if I had to say, bet on it, I would say probably further chop down.
They're saying they
unless-
can't see the screen, but like I see it fine.
Okay. Yeah. Super fan. I think that might just be you. Oh wait, no, because
No, a lot of people are saying
Grasshopper.
when you remove it and try to bring it back up. Yeah.
Can you guys
Like,
see
just
that?
exit out completely and then bring it back up. I can see it fine. I was trying to figure it out.
There we go. Let us know if you guys can see the screen right now. Because
We'll jump to YouTube. Man, I'll check it out too.
yeah. So anyhow, this is the 4-hour heading into the weekend. So I would imagine. Sorry about that, guys. I should have been looking at the chart, or sorry, the chat.
No,
there.
it wasn't your dude. I just looked at the chat. Yeah. All right, we're good now.
Yep. And so that's what I'm expecting, right? To kind of chop down, at least leading into this event that they have, this new annual crypto event. Maybe there's some bullish news, but if there's any expectation for me, I'm expecting volatility, because that's the only stable, consistent, thing with Bitcoin is $2,000 to $6,000 swings, right? So we're heading down now. So if I had to expect anything, volatility to the upside, maybe tonight. You know what I mean? So that's not a healthy thing, guys. Don't follow that. I'm just trying to use my logical part of my brain, which always tries to follow trends and data. But hopefully that helps you guys out. And just be patient. If you're a leverage trader and you're frustrated, take a break, take a pause. That's not advice. That's just like with any type of life event that seems volatile. What I try to do is I step away. I try at least and remind myself. And this is what I'm doing with trading right now. I'm actually out. I said I'm out right now until things stabilize, because at least if Bitcoin stabilizes and the alts stabilize, then at least you can try to scalp a little here and there, right? But when you're trying to scalp and there's huge volatility swings like this, you just find yourself in trouble.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. That's why I trade shitters on Odin. No, I'm just kidding. Let's get into the roll call here. Yeah, that was really weird, because like I seen the screen, so I thought it fixed itself. I saw the comments, but they kept coming in, and I'm like, I see the screen fine. And then but you did, I went back on YouTube, and for some reason, it was definitely a StreamYard thing. Yes, apologize for that, guys. But let's kind of get into the roll call here. First is first. Let's see who it is. And of course, it is Webdro again.
Hey!
How many is that for you now? Let's check it out. Let's bring up this real quick. So it's number 12 for you. All right, let's get you in. All right. And you can't see my screen now. There it goes. So Webdro, you're sitting with 12 now. Congratulations. You had a win on the 4th, which was 3 days ago. And then your prior win to that was the 27th. Shout out to you, man. 10, 11, 12 in the last 8 days. Congratulations. It does look like Webdro's in the lead. But guys, don't get discouraged. Don't quit on me. You still have about 150, 160 days left. Yeah, whole year ahead of you. Webdro did 12 in 49 attempts. So everyone has plenty of time. Shout out to Webdro, though, man. That's our guy. You, my friend, are grinding it for that. I mean, that could be a $4,000 or $5,000 prize. So
yes,
I would be grinding
for
it,
sure. I mean, what was it? The end of the year?
January 31st.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is definitely.
I'm sorry, December 31st. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, exciting.
Yeah, man. ASAP Benji is in the building. Said Webdro sure lives on YouTube. Yeah, and that's weird too, because like yesterday's time was out of the ordinary, because like we had a meeting, so we didn't put the video out right away. So we put it out like after our meeting. So yeah, so you must have been like checking it like every 10 minutes, man. Pretty nuts. Hey, you deserve it though. PJNZ says, "Oh, Webdro, Yasher's here." Says digital gold reserve BTC signed by president. Congratulations. Yep, yes sir. Webdro says, set timer on phone, hit live refreshes, streams, begin the competition. Shout out to Webdro, gaming this. He's botting it. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to him. Nighthawk says, GM, Webdro spends his days parked now using AI bot to be first. Yeah, we'll see. Tim Baker says, "Oh yes, well, just maybe I'm an AI. That'd be nuts. Dude. We start getting AI people in
Dude,
here.
dude, I still want to meet you if you're AI, dude, because that's amazing AI. Because you're a cool person, I can tell, and you're killing it on the first is first. So
He lives in the algorithm. Nah, shout out to you.
Amazing.
Gary D is here. First time in a while, my friend. Thank you, Gary D. Power is here. Shut the Power. I think your second time this week. Shout out to you, my friend. Nabab. Every day this week. Thank you so much, Nabab. I
Showing
appreciate
up.
you so much. Yeah, man. Danny says, congrats, WebDro. He's crushing it. Kai FX is GM. Patty Poo says, sups up. Patty Poo. All right. Patty Poo wants to pump his bag here. He said, Grok AI, first meme coin, Moonfart. And then is that a Solana wallet address? Yeah, that's a
It
Solana wallet
is.
address, right? Because it's
Pump.
So he said, I'm bored. Why not? Not financial advice. Chief Axel with a B. Shout out to Chief Axel. Patty Boo says, as per Gronk, moonfart to the moon. All right. Glass Hopper says, Friday. Cheaty's here. What's up, guys? And Nagi is here. No is here. Demetrius, I think your first time making the live show. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. He said, yes, of course we know that already, dude. Not exactly sure. I guess you said 11:02, so it was during me speaking. So I apologize if I was saying stuff you already knew. But Superfan is here, says GM. Kamal is here, says let's effing go.
Hey.
Kamal says, hey Shizzy, Glizzy gone underground. Why? Because Fractal's garbage right now. That's why no one's using it. There's no one bridging in, no one bridging out. When a chain dies, the top leading meme coin also dies. So it is what it is. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. Demetrius says, what about ETH, XRP, Sol, and ADA? I'm guessing you're talking about the strategic reserve. We'll find out today. That's kind of something people are predicting as well. People are predicting that, ETH, XRP, and Sol are going to be put in this thing as well. I think it was just a negotiation tactic by Trump to kind of push forward this Bitcoin thing, to kind of get the Congress to approve them buying it, and then putting these assets in the sovereign wealth fund that he created, right? So it doesn't make sense to have a sovereign wealth fund and put these in a strategic reserve, but we'll see. Mark says, I hate Crypto Fridays. Yeah, for sure. Steamy J says, let's get it. Demetrius says, it hurts a lot, actually, when people that care for the crypto market or community does not ring their bell or something else, right? And all they discuss in their list is priority of their to-do list.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is that like it's like disheartening or discouraging whenever like there's a narrative or initiative that benefits the people that are in power kind of situation.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
I could be wrong, but that's what I got from it.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got from too. Kai FX is Warren, Monster Warren. Demetrius says BTC Bitcoin is on the first list on their heads only.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to think though. Bitcoin is, it has 16 years now of success, right? So that's one thing about these TradFi guys. They don't get into things unless it's been proven and there's no hacks, and Ethereum was hacked once, right? So you got to remember too, these guys are very risk off, so they need their assets to be risk off as well, and Bitcoin can be that. So
yeah, and TradFi is going to get into some of those other ones. I mean, they already have, but it's just who started it all. Bitcoin did. What has been the most like dominant the entire time? Bitcoin has, right? So you got to look at it from that perspective. The time will come for some of these other ones. It's just inevitable, whether they deserve it or not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like TradFi will pour into them because there's going to be upside X's into them.
100%. Adopted by Bitcoin says Shizzy and Mr. Yagobi. Shout out to Adopted by Bitcoin. I wish Bitcoin adopted me. ASAP Benji says we can't see any chart. Okay, that's these comments. Superfan is here. Shout out to Superfan. Glasshopper's in the building. Mice Elf is here. Let's go. Superfan says yup. And now we can. That was my fault, guys. I saw his chart, so I just thought that like it fixed itself. But yeah, so we are all good. And then good is good now. And Kai FX says it's a constellation pattern. So yeah, we will see. All right. Let's kind of get into our next topic here. Binance announces new community co-governance mechanism for token listings. So they came out a little bit ago, and they basically said, and this was like right as the show started, so I didn't get a lot of time to research this. I know Petty said he took a deep dive into there. But Binance is enhancing listing mechanisms and introducing its new community co-governance mechanism for listings. The vote to list, vote to delist mechanicas will enable greater community participation and give users a stronger voice in the listing process. So to me, this sounds like they're gonna just put up a token like dog and say, if this gets 1 million likes, we're gonna list it, and if it drops under 1 million or it gets 1 million dislikes, we're gonna take it down. Like, what do you think this is about?
Something similar to what you just mentioned. I don't know if it's going to be like, here's one thing that I think they will try to avoid is like constantly listing and unlisting and relisting
Yeah.
and unlisting, right? So there's probably going to be like a substantial threshold of like getting delisted, right? Like a substantial amount of downvotes where it's like, okay, it's obvious, like, you know, that this is like, you know, doesn't deserve to continually stay on Binance anymore. But I do like that they're trying to change the approach to listing, and I think Coinbase needs to do the same thing. And all these that like, you know, for them it was all about volume, and you saw like actually the degeneracy of these centralized exchanges. You know, the degeneracy like pouring over into them whenever like the Trump token went off and all these other tokens. They're like, oh, we got to hurry up and list so we can get fees. All this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that actually kind of slapped them in the face too and said, oh, you know, we're kind of losing credibility. We're you know, the you know, hyper liquids and these other like dexes are getting more volume than us. This is weird. Let's kind of reestablish ourselves and be more of a, I don't know, I guess less less out of our control and more in the community's control, because community does really make a difference, right? And I promise you, like, the thing is that like the community for tokens like Doge back in the day and Sheeb and even Pepe, like those communities were stronger than even the Trump token community. You know what I mean? Trump community was not necessarily community, it was money. It was just people that had like whales of like, I want to make money. The other ones were like people that didn't have a lot of money, but a bunch of them that were like, you know, we believe in this, you know. So it's a different take, and I think they want to get some of that back, which I agree with. I think it needs to come back, because that was more of the hodl culture. Whether you like memes or not, that hodl culture has really dissipated from the pump fund model, and really kind of like the celebrity presidential coin crap that just needs to go away.
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. I do like this. They're kind of taking it and kind of put it in public, right? Like, why do they list this token and not this one? Well, because it's right there, right? Like, because this one got more.
You wanted this. You guys wanted
like,
this, yeah.
But the only problem is now is you know, like things getting like botted. You know what I mean? Or something like well, I guess not, right? Because you have to KYC for Binance.
Yeah.
So if you have KYC,
very smart. You know, and like how many different accounts do you got to do? You got to do a lot of different accounts, you know what I mean? And you're not going to be able to bot it that way. You know what I mean? So I actually do like this. I think they should keep it that way. They should, you know, like, I actually didn't vote for some of the runes that I wanted to vote for because I couldn't, you know, register on their account. Right. And so, but what it does is it actually makes people register and actually vote. So community is actually voting on which tokens to get listed and stuff.
Yeah, man, 100%. Really cool though. Really awesome there. All right, jump to the next thing here from Binance. So Binance's YZI Labs or Yeezy Labs has invested into TensorPlex Labs, a decentralized AI lab building the next-gen applications. CZ notes that the company is investing in blockchain and AI. So this is an arm of Binance that we know that CZ is an advisor for, right? So CZ had to kind of give the heads up, or you know, the nod, right? So TensorPlex is actually doing some really cool stuff. TensorPlex is actively involved with BitTensor and its native token. They have ST-Tau, which is by staking Tau through TensorPlex platform, users received state ST-Tau tokens, which are yield bearing and can be utilized across various Ethereum-based ecosystems. So that they're basically trying to be the Lido of Tau, which is awesome, and allowing you to go and play on Ethereum with your Tau tokens and potentially your you know, what are they, alpha tokens as well. We'll get into that in a second. But validator services, TensorPlex operates validators on the BitTensor network, enhancing network and security. So they're basically like another Tau Stats, right? So they're allowing you to kind of do that. So that's kind of where I'm thinking that they're going to allow you to tokenize your alpha tokens if you're staking it with them, and they give you a mirror copy on the other side. And in order to sell it, you might have to burn it though. So I don't know. Well, we'll see how they can do that, but it sounds really interesting. And CZ took an advisory role at Binance Labs and approved this investment. So this is something they came out and said. They're in talks with CZ directly. Pretty nuts. And then the next thing was nuts too, because immediately after this announcement, another 2 million inflow from Binance Whale has bumped subnets. So someone came in and immediately started buying $2 million worth of subnets yesterday. So first, let me show this graphic here. This is the partnership announcement between TensorPlex and YZI Labs. And then, our guy, Mark Jeffrey, he says, in case you missed this, Binance invested in BitTensor Tau. So this isn't a direct investment in the Tau, but this is kind of like the picks and shovels of Tau, right?
Yeah. And this is obviously a good news event. And whenever Binance Labs invests in something, you got to pay attention to it. Doesn't work out every single time, but they take kind of like their risks in stuff that has great potential, and that's what Tau is. It has great potential. It's it's like an ecosystem that's like marinating and getting finding their footing, and trying to really get their infrastructure built out to where now like it could be this huge monster, right? And I think this is like Binance getting in early into one of these validators is a bullish news event for sure.
Yeah, a validator that could potentially stake the alpha tokens, or have them
and
tradable
that's
on Ethereum.
that's the next thing that's needed, right?
Yeah.
That's the next thing that's needed for the subnets. And so this is huge utility, and we'll see how long it takes for them to develop this, because we'll see what happens. There's just a lot of potential here, and if they can make the barrier for chains like this is always the complexity of UI, right? And like we've seen that with Bitcoin, we're seeing that with BitTensor, and I think eventually what happens is both like the Bitcoin and like Tau infrastructures, like the whole idea is to make it as easy as possible for the end user, and that's what's happening here. So I'm excited, right? Because I hold alpha tokens, and I'm earning every day, so that's something that I'm excited for 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I think what TensorPlex was trying to build here potentially could build like a virtual style, right? To where you can go there and, if it kind of like a community bonding period, because right now it's really expensive for a subnet to
I like that though.
to come on, right? So
I like that.
it's $100,000. So if TensorPlex opened up like a virtual style thing where you could help your favorite project get themselves a subnet, like let's just say like some builder came on and he's like, hey guys, I want to get this, I want to get a subnet for this, but I need $100K. What if this protocol lets you come in and you kind of bid, right? And then when it becomes a subnet, you get alpha tokens, right? Like this could be like a launch pad for subnets.
That's better for than the virtuals model. I do feel like the virtuals model became too degenerate for like an AI launchpad. You eventually, I mean, you did have to hit a pretty high market cap to actually bond, though. I think it was like $1 million around there.
Yeah.
Remember? So that actually goes to show how much momentum they had. Damn, $1 million bond. That was pretty crazy when you think about it. But it got to the point where it was like oversaturated with just like, too many that were out there. The one thing I do hate is about these pump fund models, and I just don't like it, is the pre-bond farming, because that really becomes like a game in itself, right? There's a PvP factor to pump fund models. We all know that, but there's two separate PvP like games going on. There's the pre-bond PvP, which is where a lot of people end up losing money too, because like if they're used to hodl culture, you're done in that PvP, like that pre-bond. If you keep trying in PvP and you can't get out, and you're not willing to take losses, you're gonna run through $1,000 really quick, because like you'll be like, oh, I believe in this one. The longer that like a pump fund model happens, the more chance that the lesser percentage that these tokens actually bond, right? So like I don't want them, I don't want like BitTensor and like the Tau ecosystem to go to that. So I like the fact that it costs 100K for a subnet to be created, because there's a barrier that like you got to be serious. If they're going to fundraise this way, that could be different, but I still think that people are going to do the pre-bond PvP, and I just hate that part.
Yeah, but you're thinking of that as a short-term trader, the guy who's in it for 2 weeks, right? I would love someone like Superfan who really can't afford right now to get a subnet, but he can actually launch this project on this platform. Me and you, we can bid in it because we believe in Superfan. He gets enough money, he gets a subnet. The traders are going to trade, right? But we believe in him. We believe in what he's building. Now it empowers him to get a subnet, and then we get some of those alpha tokens that we're betting on him. Right. So they kind of take the short-term mindset out of it. Yeah, traders are going to trade, whatever. You want to get in, get out, whatever, you can make your money. But as a long-term investor, this is awesome. I can get in something at like, below 100K market cap and, get alpha tokens, and, people can now take their miners and hook them up to Superfan's, his subnet, and actually earn the tokens as well. While I'm sitting there staked, and let's just say he does get, 0.1% of the emissions. Now we're earning Tau the whole time. Because we already have some of the tokens. Like, this is win-win for me. You can't stake the virtual tokens like you can with Tau, right? So this is, to me, it's like, yeah, if you want to trade it, go ahead, be my guest. You might see a run up and a run down. You see that all the time with new tokens. It happens, whatever. But the long term, this could help someone like Superfan actually hook up Big Noodle, so he's not paying for compute. He's actually hooking it up to his own subnet, where people are basically helping him.
Yeah, Superfan came in and said Big Noodle would be on BitTensor now if I could afford it. Was
exactly
140K last week. I wanted subnet 69 so bad. Yeah, I would actually like it better if it was almost kind of like a what's the fundraising thing? Not the GoFundMe, but there was a Kickstarter. If it was more like a Kickstarter, to where like you commit and then you get a certain amount of tokens, but you can't take out. Yeah, I would like that better.
Like, and 6 month staking.
Yeah, well, or something like that, to where like you have to hit this threshold, but like the pitch matters that much more. You get what I'm saying? You show the product, you show the pitch, and if you can hit like the raise goal, then you bond, right? But like people can't I want to eliminate these like photon users, these PvP stuff. I want to eliminate that with like the way BitTensor's looked at is quality, in my opinion, versus no offense to virtuals, but virtuals is like not. Virtuals quantity. I like quality over quantity, because we need to really get the space back to some sort of a HODL culture, because it's just like we're too far away from it right now. We've ventured too far away from it.
Is the unlock could be terrible. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the only problem. I'd rather get the cheats out early and let the true believers get in super cheap than just have everyone get in, and then 6 months all the tokens unlock and it's a huge dump and everyone's prepared for this huge dump.
I think people are going to be a lot more cautious though whenever they actually add to it. They'll be like, do I actually believe in this, because I can't get back? You know what I mean? And so there'll be more quality investors, in my opinion, versus like.
But no one's going to get in knowing there's an unlock coming, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to get into this token. No one's going to mine it, because they know that they're going to get dumped on in 6 months.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
That's like, the problem, because you need the miners to hook up to this to earn the token.
Like, maybe there could be like a minimum maximum amount that people can put. I don't know, but my whole point that I'm saying is like I just, like, for me, I would love to eliminate the pre-bond that trading event like that.
But your call is your call is in effect, right? So yeah, you're taking one part of it, but then you have this new problem of an unlock. Right.
Yeah, so but I mean, we've had unlocks, like Solana has huge unlocks, and there's like chains that have huge unlocks, and so
but
that was a part of like the beginning of like crypto investments, right? It's like these unlock situation,
and they've been terrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather like the model of, I mean, we're agreeing to disagree. It's fine, but I think I would just the virtual model a little bit, just let it go. If cheats, you get into stuff. But what that does is cause volume, that causes FOMO, and that actually brings people to.
But it also brings saturated projects, and then like crappy quality projects too. Like there was so many crappy quality projects. Yeah, I know, but like some people don't care about the subnet. They just want to make money on it. You know what I mean? That's why it's like the way that the subnets work now, like it sucks, like because you want like a good builder like Superfan that has a really good product to be able to come in, maybe lower the barrier, but like at least you have that barrier because now you're not looking. There were so many on virtuals that literally made up a bunch of bullshit like on a website, and then like I want those to get like out, like filtered out, right, as much as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, because no one's going to spend $140,000 and they just let it go.
That's why. That's why I like.
Yeah,
that's why I like more of like the raise approach, utilizing something that's more of a raise and serious investors into it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And also, so this is another one. So 67,007 Tau came firing out of a Binance storage, which some people are thinking is CZ. So that 2 million might have been either the YZ Labs themselves getting deep in the alpha tokens, because they said that Binance doesn't allow withdrawals right now. Like if you bought BitTensor, you can't withdraw it yet. But this happened yesterday where it came out of the Binance storage and went right into alpha tokens. So I think this is another investment by YZ Labs.
That could be huge. Yeah, that could be huge.
And I made out like a bandit this week. The Tau tokens. If you're in the alpha tokens, if you got in when I got in, you did have some losses, but now I'm starting to be positive again. And these Tau tokens are really striving. Well, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are really striving right now.
Yep.
All right.
Well, real quick, they said like peak kind of, or no, I guess start to the ascension would be 90 days, right? The ones that 90 days from the subnet launches, and then not launches, sorry, from the DTAL launch. And then the ones that are like extremely thriving, 60 days is like the earliest turnaround. So I'm not sure when DTAL launched. You know more about that than me. But how many days are we out from that? Because that is definitely something that I'm trying to, I want to keep track of.
Yeah, today is the fourth Friday.
Okay, so we're about 30 days. So we probably have another like 30 to 60 days to like really build up. And one thing I did notice is like the top market caps are inching up as opposed to before they were inching back. And now they're inching up. So it seems like the slow progress of, gradually moving up is happening, which is a good sign.
Yeah. And on most of my tokens, man, I'm earning, 0.01% every day. So every 10 days, I'm getting 0.1%, which basically means that every 100 days, I'm getting 1% of my holdings. So if I have 100, I'm getting 1, right? So it's pretty, especially on the ones that are $50, $60, right? So it's pretty crazy. The next thing here, pump fund metrics continue to plummet. So this is a continuation of what we've seen. Look at this is basically where we are March 6th. Boom. What is going on? Are people really just done with pump fund at this point? Because I thought it would come back.
Yeah, I mean, like I think you heard from our interview. I don't want to give too much of a, I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But when we had Pep Odin on yesterday, the pump fund model, because they were building tools over there before, and they said even if you had tool sets over there, it was so saturated to the point to there was a big group of people that had like Photon, all these extra tools, and it was hard for the people that had tools to even like. And so now I think what the public's realizing is that like it's a no-win situation really for them, right? The winners are going to be the ones with the most advanced tools or the most liquidity in those cabal groups, and I like this. This is what. So the one thing that needs to happen, I think, is like if there's attention moving over to something like Odin.fun or like RuneShot eventually, probably early, and then like eventually these tools will come over or try to. How's that going to be able to be, minimized? I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I kind of love it though. I kind of like that pump fun. I say that though, but I'm playing with Odin, so it's like I want them to come to Odin.
It's because like the platform isn't it's nowhere near where Pump Fun was, right? Like people are just now like the most advanced tool out there is pepodins.com, which is the alpha site that tells you what's hot, what's not, and stuff like that. There's no Photon, there's no these other like sniping tools yet. So I don't know if it gets there, but Bitcoiners by nature the Bitcoin ecosystem are more hodl by nature. But even them, they can get sucked into PvP. So
yeah, that would actually be a good name of a token. Hodl by nature.
Yeah.
Like naughty by nature,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
hodl by nature. Yeah. All right, let's jump to the next thing here. A tweet from our friend Bob Bodley. He says, Odin.fun was not hacked. There was a bug in the deposit sync code that resulted in a few users having a balance larger than they deposited. This is why nobody was able to find the 74 Bitcoin deposit transactions on chain. This has all been fixed as about 12 hours ago. Check the balance of the 74 Bitcoin user. It has returned to normal. All users' funds are safe. No users experience any direct losses due to the bug. I wish he didn't put that in there. All users' funds are safe, because that just sounds like a centralized exchange, when it's not, right? So, and then he says deeper dive into technical side. Let's skip this part. Moving forward, we are improving the Odin Fund front end with deposit and withdrawal statuses pending, confirmed, and credited, along with links to explorers so you can follow the trail of funds, completely decentralized and on chain. We are improving our code by continuing to harden our smart contract API and indexers via internal and external reviews and audits. We're improving processes around larger BTC amounts in the platform. This means you may have to wait for an additional confirmations on larger deposits or withdrawal amounts for increased platform security. Thanks, everyone. So what did you take from this? The first line, Ordinal, on Odin.fun was not hacked, so on and so. But we did see last night that about 50% of the liquidity came out of the tokens. I don't know if it's still sitting there or whether it was withdrawn. But what do you think? What's going on right now in your head with this?
Yeah, so I think this is a growing pain situation, right? I think Bob is you know, it's good that he's the founder because he's very good at communication, very, very straightforward. So, you know, I think they're fixing this in terms of, you know, the vouchers. I think the deposit vouchers. So no one's, you know, getting shortchanged or anything here. You just have to deposit the voucher to get the Bitcoin back into Odin and all that stuff. But you know, this is a growing pain situation. Their demand increased so quickly, and they want to satisfy it. And so, I think everything should be fine here. But also, you know, make sure that everything seems right on your end as a user. Of course, always do that. Always do your research on it. But you know, it's it's interesting that, you know, the like Odin Dog went from 23 million to like 16 right now, sitting at 16. So I think people just probably went into Bitcoin on Odin, and they're just sitting
Yeah.
there waiting to kind of this all boils over.
Yeah, and what we've noticed too, a lot of times, that, you know, when Bitcoin goes up, Odin tokens go down, because you can go into Bitcoin, and sometimes, yeah, you're making money on the dollar, but you're losing it against Bitcoin. I've actually noticed that as well. I'd be like, damn, why is my Bitcoin amount down? And then I realize, oh wow, the price is pumped, right? So it does seem, maybe we gotta start playing that as long and in shorts, right? So when Bitcoin's pumping, get out, and then when Bitcoin's dipping, like it is right now, to get in. And if you can use that as a potential, like, to just, I guess Odin Dog would be that. And let's see what happens here. If Odin Dog gets back to 18, while Bitcoin drops to like 85 or something, then again, that works, right? So I'm kind of just testing the data out right now and kind of seeing if that's true. But what do you think is happening right now? You're seeing stuff like Super X, who, what was that, like 2.5 million just a few days ago, being down at 329. Odin Frog had a run up this morning to like 800K, now down at 400K. Ghost Snow, we saw over 1 million. Sparks, we saw over 2 million. So this is every token really getting hit. Obviously, the Bob tokens, which are the top 3, are surviving because we do know that Bob owns 6% of each one of these tokens, and he was the dev, I guess you would say. I hate calling deployers devs, but Bob is a dev, so I give it to Bob. But like, you know, BitCat, whoever created that isn't a dev. They just paid some Bitcoin to create. You know what I mean? I hate that word, but we need to figure out a better word for that. So
Yeah, that's just kind of slang, I guess, or just language for our space. But yeah. Yeah, everything's pulled back, right? Like Sparks is at 800K. It was holding over 1 million for sure, and that was a strong community token. Yeah, so I'm not too shocked, you know, like something like Super X, which is still waiting on their rune to be etched, you know.
Still?
So yeah, so that's one of the reasons why people are kind of waiting to see if they do, send it over to their exchange or not. But you have like something like Pep Odins, which is a utility play pretty much. I mean, it has pepodins.com, which is the alpha site that pulled back. That was at like 500. So I think things are like right now is just kind of smoothing things over a bit, for a day or two and see where things are after that. But up until now, the first bump was kind of like the slower deposits, right? And that was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This is the second bump, but it's the growing pains thing, right? As long as no one loses Bitcoin, I think that will be fine, but that needs to be clarified and confirmed. And it's so far it seems like no one's really complaining about that. So I think everything is settled, and now it's just kind of like get over the shock and awe part. And so that's where I'm seeing it.
I feel good that today's Friday and we can kind of get a weekend of low liquidity coming in here, and then Monday kind of start back up fresh. I think that's the best thing for Bob right now is to kind of just keep doing your thing here. Don't get distracted. Keep making the site better, and I think if you build it amazing, people are going to play, and you've seen that happen already. And this is the second time though we've seen a huge upward movement and then a crash down, right? So I definitely think we get it again.
Yeah, and remember, a lot of this is the Be Life guys. They're really good at onboarding communities, and so they've been able to do that in the East. And I think that the East hasn't lost their faith in them because from what I'm seeing on crypto Twitter, so the East will stay, I think, and be fine. The West is probably trying to fill things out right now, but if they can get East and West continually onboarded, it could have that thrust up again. But we'll see. Everything is going to be determined here in time. And see what happens here the next week.
Yeah, man. What do you like? What do you think happens? Do you think by next week we're kind of back, or do you think that maybe we have like a week or two of just downward momentum?
It depends. Like it also depends on how the overall markets are. I know that you said that it does the opposite of Bitcoin, but I think like if Bitcoin goes really, really aggressive, then I think it's Odin's going to benefit from that, and all the ecosystems will if there's like a declared up only situation. But I just think right now probably people just need to get their nerves kind of calm down and see what the next post is from Bob's account and the Odin account, right? So everything cleared up, then I wouldn't be surprised if by next week things are rocking and rolling again.
Yeah, man, 100%. The next thing I have here is the number 37 sex in the world. Centralized exchange in the world just added support for runes and has spot listed dog. So I got the thing right here. I've never heard of this one. I heard like something similar, but not this one directly, right? Wasn't it like was it Philomia X or something? PH something?
No,
Pionex.
Pionex is the
That's the one that did it, but Polonium X, that's something different, right?
Yeah. So Pionex has been around for a long time. If this is the Pionex that, this is. I remember I was messing with Pionex like in 2020, 2021 maybe, because like they have trading bots, and so they've been around for a while. So this is pretty big for them to get on there. I think it's not the top, but it's number 37. Yeah. So they came out in 2019 with trading. So they're known for their trading bots. Yep, that's exactly how I found them.
Yeah, and the price of dog really didn't move because of this. What's going on with dog right now? Like the old school runes are really getting hit right now. It's seriously just been down. Only you saw some of the Ordinals projects pumping. Wow, these runes are these runes like? Do they need to just be removed from Bitcoin and go somewhere else at this point to be able to get any type of liquidity? I mean, dog's down 70% on the week, bro. On the week,
So I don't think that like Bitcoin can't make up its mind, and the runes definitely are reflective a bit from like market conditions, right? So if Bitcoin starts to get going again upwards, but it really needs to be pretty aggressive, and then maybe we have something like the October, November events. But you can't be going up 5,000 and down 5,000 like every other day. Like that, nothing's gonna happen here. It's only gonna be bad because like at that point, the volatility will actually drive the price down versus up.
Yeah. Is this the bottom for these layer 1 runes?
I hope
Yeah.
so, because I hold a couple of them. It's funny because we look at the Odin runes and the market caps, and it's hard to get the highest was Odin Dog at like 30 million. I think it hit 30 million, right? So if you look
Odin's
at
a month old though, so
so and it's dependent upon how much liquidity's been ported over, right? So that's another thing, but so I don't know. Like I look at these and I'm like, okay, these are bad, like right now, but they're still higher than Odin runes. And we have seen in these quick environments that like these market caps can get up pretty high. I mean, if we go back to February of 2024, we saw Voya on Merlin chain go past, I think, did it hit 100? It hit 80 million for sure. I don't know if it hit 100.
Yeah, it rocketed up. I can't even remember what it was.
So we have seen that happen. But it's just interesting to see the Odin runes right now and see, maybe imagine where they might be in a couple months. I don't know. But
Odin Dog was number 2 for a little while. Now it's down to number 4 in runes overall, so it's just above Rune Coin right now, and in that 4 spot. So when do you think we could maybe see them over here, like with some actual like volume?
That's a good question.
Odin Dog, yeah.
Oh, you mean on Magic Eden?
Yeah, like with some volume. I mean, I know you can list them right now, but like with volume, probably never.
Man, I don't know, man. There's gonna have to be quite a bit to come over, I imagine, because I'm curious to see how much is even bridged over. Whenever you withdraw on Odin.fund, you have an option to switch from Bitcoin to runes, so that option is definitely there. Are people doing it? I don't think so, man. I don't think it's happening really. See Odin Dog right here. Let me see if anything is. I mean, there's 2 wallets. No, there's some wallets that hold it. But it's like significant amounts to where you could put it on the marketplace. So there's about 15 being the lowest at like 6,700 Odin Dog, and number 2 being the highest at 764,000. So there's definitely enough to list on there, but I don't even see. Can you search it and see if it's even on there?
Yeah, I'm guessing you can go right up here and type in Odin. Oh no, Odin. Oh, I'm on collection.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
It?
Yeah, it's there. It's Odin Dog ID YTTL. So
there's a couple different ones. YTTL. Okay.
Yeah. That's the.
Oh wow, so there's some listed.
Yeah, but I don't see any activity. I don't think. Yeah, 0 trades.
0. Yeah.
So no one's buying it.
I'd be careful though, because I don't. That's one thing about the ID thing. It's like one L could be an I. You know what I mean? You really have to make sure it actually has liquidity.
Yeah, make sure you're matching it up with the one on Odin.fund, which that does match up. But yeah, people have listed it. But there hasn't been any buys yet, so that's interesting.
They're a lot higher at $1.11. So this is sitting at a $22 million market cap right here. So 23 million. Yeah. So that's probably why. But let's say if Odin Dog jumps up, you grab this, deposit it in, and you just arbitraged.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Something to always look into as well. Let's take a look at the collections. The collections have actually been doing well, not them all, but some of them have actually been doing pretty good. Ordinal Maxi Biz sitting, about, let's go to the 7-day. Up 24% on the week. Shout out to Ordinal Maxi Biz, man. They're actually coming back up. They're actually getting close to Node Monkeys and Puppets. They're actually about to pass Puppets. Wow. That's crazy. Because these were just at 0.02 like a week or something ago. That's when I got mine. So yeah, so they're climbing. Puppets are still dropping. Puppets are down 15% on the week. Node monkeys are down 9% on the week. The frogs were up 30%. We bought the bottom on that, by the way, which is awesome. And then yeah, you got the runestones down a little bit. Base angels up 24%, and then bitmaps up 88%. They went down to $9 and now popped up to, I think I'm actually curious what their dollar values right now. Seeing about $22. So they're up, they're up
Wow.
significant on the week. So shout out to the bitmappers.
I'm happy for them. They've been waiting
man.
for a price pump for a while, so that's good.
Yeah, yep. Is this a pump to get out though, or is this a pump that could be continued?
I don't know if it's a pump to get out, because I feel like we would see people getting out.
Yeah.
So it's going up.
Yeah,
continually.
I would probably sell here, but that's just me. if you got them at $9, right? If you got them at $9. But yeah, man, I think that's everything that I have here today. We won't look at it while we wait for Jake to pop in. Do you have the link for Jake?
Maybe not actually. Let me make sure that got that.
Kai FX, let's get the comments. Kai FX says, "Yo, bitmaps, I knew it." Superfan says, "Patty Puka's on-chain revolution marked the ordinal's bottom."
He called that.
But tell that to node monkeys and puppets though, Patty Poo, because they must not have got the memo. Because they're still down only. So I wouldn't say that, by the way. But bro, we're still the same channel. Stop it. Stop your nonsense. But Superfan says, I think Bob said that because the news I got this morning is about a hack. He's countering. Okay, that makes sense, because I didn't see anything about a hack until I saw Bob's tweet. Kai Effect said it's done. Wow. Tim Baker says, Yagobi, you guys haven't got into it lately. Tell Shizzy he's missing out on XRV. Tell him to look at XRV price in 10 years, or you get him going or something. Yeah, Tim wants you to like cause a argument here. Yeah. So Superfan says Big Noodle would be on BitTensor now if I could afford it. It was 140K. I want to sell this.
We already went over that.
And then he says, yes, exactly, Shizzy. I'd love BitTensor to hold hackathons, giving up their subnets to guys like me. They can make their money off the top after, no problem there. But I can't pay to play, so I'm a grumpy as F. I don't want VC money to get in. Yeah, you're gonna see VC money get in. Like you're gonna see that coming.
Yeah, but they should do a hackathon for grants. I mean, almost every chain does that.
Their problem right now is they don't need to, right? So I think they will once, they
don't need to, or the time is not right for
it's
that.
4 weeks old. So for right now, they just want to make sure everything's working correctly and stuff. What a hackathon does, it brings attention to the chain, right?
Well,
it brings
and it
new
also
projects,
brings
new builders.
Exactly.
And right now, all they have is new builders, right? So it's like you want to bring more people in,
like quality builders.
Well,
yeah, because the only ones that's gonna build is the ones that win the grants.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be quality.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a month old. You have 74 subnets. People are actually paying the 100K right now. So it's like, why do you want to give one away when you can?
Because
they're a foundation.
I think it's more about encouraging like good builders that might not have the capital, right?
Yeah,
because not everybody wants to go the raise route, right? And so I don't know. I just think that would make sense. Maybe the timing isn't right now, but eventually, why not have a annual hackathon? I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think in a year from now, for sure, 100%. Especially after the halving, they're definitely going to need, because that's the thing too, is once the halving happens in December, I don't think a lot of people are ready for the BitTensor halving. Like honestly, because it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be right at the end of this year. It's gonna be going right into next year. It's actually gonna get pretty wild, because right now you get one Tau token per block, but in the first week of December, the halving happens for BitTensor. BitTensor is the same tokenomics as Bitcoin, and then after the halving, it's going to be half a Tau per block going forward, and then in 4 years, the same thing. So that's kind of why I'm seriously bullish on Tau. And then they get the subnets, and what happened with Ethereum once the ICOs came aboard, you needed Ethereum to buy these ICOs, right? So Ethereum price skyrocket, and right now you need Tau to buy these subnets or these alpha tokens. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's the price of Tau is going to explode. But yeah, man, let's get it. So our good friend Jake has joined us. So every Friday, guys, we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, we've been doing this awesome segment we call the Emblem Hour with the Jake Gallen. So what the Emblem Hour is, it's kind of showcasing our partner, Emblem Vault, and what they're building. They're building some really, really cool stuff. Not only are they building the jump feature where you're going to be able to take your NFTs, stick them in a vault, and that, when I say NFTs, that includes ordinals as well. You're going to be able to take your node monkeys to pretty much any chain, but they're starting off with 5, and the first one they're actually doing is base. That'll probably be the first one, and then Merlin, and so on and so on. So, but I guess the goal would be to make NFTs and ordinals multi-chain, and that's phenomenal. But not only that, they also are building in this AI project, Tensorium, right, with Agent Hustle, and Agent Hustle is going to allow you to basically do that through him, right? Imagine being able to tell Agent Hustle, hey, take my node monkey to base, take my node monkey to abstract. He's going to be able to do that for you. And he's going to be able to do a lot more for you too, with giving you information, maybe telling you about yields and where to come find the best yields. So they're not only building this amazing jump feature, but actually building a tool to help you use it as well. So without further ado, let's bring up Jake Gallen for Emblem Vault. Jake, welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Well, I guess it's your first time on OnChain Revolution.
I'm excited that you guys made the change. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Just a perfect fit for your guys' growth and progression, as well as kind of the Bitcoin space moving into this kind of chain abstraction layer. So excited to be on. Yeah, it wasn't here last week because I was at ETH Denver, which was also a fun time. Got to hang out with all of the Bitcoin peeps, emceed the Bitcoin Renaissance conference one of the days, and learned that the community loves Bitcoin staking. Man, I was very surprised by how crazy people go over just 2% yield. Kind of wild.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Ethereum conference, could you go into a little bit for the audience of the vibes you got from the overall conference, and then maybe dive deeper into just the Bitcoin ecosystem as well?
It felt like it was more of like a crypto conference than just an Ethereum conference. When you go to the actual boothing area, you had everything from Sui to Binance to all of the L2s to small protocols across all these different chains. And to me, I like the vibes. A lot of people said that they had issues, but it felt very more like a builders conference and it did like a retail conference. This tends to happen in bull and bear markets. When sentiment's down, then not as many people come to conferences, and it's really just more kind of nerd conversations, which I actually like. It's not, the conversations become more about product and development rather than just kind of price, which becomes kind of redundant over times. And got to go out and network. It was the first time that our entire Emblem team, the 7 of us, were together. And so we got to kind of finalize everything for Emblem 2.0 and our bulk minting tool and Agent Hustle and stuff of that nature, as well as go to some of the parties like the Lit Protocol party. And then I came in and hosted the first day, or emceed the first day of the Bitcoin Renaissance conference, which was like, this was like the 2-day kind of larger Bitcoin side event. The first day, I was only there one day. First day had like 12 panels or so. It was hosted by Babylon, who's the Bitcoin staking kingmaker, I guess you could say here. The conversations kind of surrounded, I guess you'd say maybe 2 or 3 topics. It was generally staking, obviously because they were hosting it, and kind of L2s and L2 specifically, like Bob and kind of some of these different ways to bridge assets between going back and forth. The conversation always seems to default around this one idea where it's like, okay, we have all these L2s. What are they for? And right, it tends to go back and forth on, does Bitcoin need these L2s? Do we not need these L2s? Is it better to kind of go into this direction of scaling Bitcoin. Is Solana just going to end up being kind of this better abstraction layer? And this conversation's become quite circular, to be honest. But there are a lot of builders out there, and man, I have to say I'm very surprised by the size of all these teams. I went around and talked with 3 or 4 different booths that were in the area, and all these teams are 20 people, 40 people, 60 people, 80 people. Some of them don't even have products. It was just kind of astounding coming from a small team of 7 people who've never received funding and who have pretty much the same TVL as some of these products, which is no offense to them. It's just amazing when you look at like the scale of some of these teams and like what literally $5 million can do. And some of it wasteful, but then other times, you can have kind of a big hitter. So outside of the L2s, BitVM was actually like a big conversation. And there was like 4 or 5 teams who were attempting to use BitVM in terms of scaling, and did not hear once about OpCat the entire day that I was there. I was quite surprised. Did not bring up once. I did hear a bunch about CT. I think it's called OpCTV. But yeah, OpCo did not come up once in like the 12 panels and keynotes that I emceed.
That's interesting. Were the Taproot Wizards there? Was Udi there?
He was not there. No,
Oh.
he may have been there. He may have been there the second day. I was just emceeing from the first day. It was mostly, I guess maybe it's just because BitVM is like a competitor to OpCat. So maybe they like purposely separated it, but the first day I was quite surprised it didn't come up once. It was much less of the degen kind of conversation. Although Farmer Joe and Domo did do a panel, and it was more kind of this like institutional kind of VC infrastructure kind of conversations.
Yeah, I've noticed that too on the timeline. A little. First, I'm not seeing a ton of conversations about op codes in general, but I have seen a couple posts about like how I guess core is definitely liking more of the idea of op CTV paired with another op code versus opcat, right? And I think you get a little bit less like on-chain computation with OpCTV, but you get more of, I think, what is it, the pre-signage type of situations, maybe something like that. I don't know, but they like it better because I think it's less risky and maybe but BitVM, that's an interesting thing because they're trying to be the virtual machine of Bitcoin, right? And even with BitVM, some of that, like that computation has to be done off chain. It can't be done on chain, right? But finalizing and verifying everything on chain could be the situation that everybody gravitates to. Do you feel like they're going to be have a solid chance at being like the virtual machine of Bitcoin?
It's tough to know, to be honest. I mean, there's still things that have to happen. If OpCat's approved, then people will probably go that way. It still seems like there's a pretty big culture war between both of these. It's kind of this like you're on one side of the sand. You're either pro OpCat or you're pro BitVM, and there's funding on both sides of the aisle. It seems like there's more people building with BitVM, to be honest, than it does with OpCat. Although you see some of these other parties like Starkware who's like experimenting with OpCat in case that does happen. But from the conversations that I've seen, there was like 5 or 6 different teams. And they came in pretty heavy. They built like a BitVM foundation. And I think that cohort has like 20 or 30 teams inside of it. So they're definitely competing between other, which I think is overall great for Bitcoin because you want the best product to win. And so you want to have a competitive landscape. You don't want somebody to just come in and kind of have this overarching sweep of where the future of the direction is going of the protocol.
Yeah, 100%. And I just have such a hard time thinking Saylor and Larry Fink and some of these big whale holders are gonna like even let this happen, right? They have enough money to encourage the miners to vote a certain way. And I think the last thing they want is people building on Bitcoin. I mean, they just want Bitcoin to be the store of value, that shiny rock, and that's it. I just have I don't I, you know when something like this going through, and I'm sure Larry Fink has miners in his pocket at this point, especially when I mean these guys like control. That's their number one thing is they control markets. That's how they have gotten so big, and I just can't see them allowing any type of upgrade to happen to Bitcoin. To them, Bitcoin is perfect the way it is because this is exactly what they want.
Actually, one of my 2025 predictions was that BlackRock was going to back up OpCat. And it was just it was a little bit of this kind of like right field guess, but it was just under this premise that this will bring new dollars and new infrastructure to the ecosystem. And for them, they just want the number to go up at the end of the day. And potentially this could make the number go up. And if they want to view it more as a technology and competitive to Ethereum, maybe they say, hey, if OpCat or BitVM is adopted, then this takes 10% of the revenue away from Ethereum ETFs into the Bitcoin ETFs. That's more dollars for them.
The problem I see that is they're very risk adjusted, right? So it's all about risk versus reward. So the reward, Bitcoin going up another, 50%, awesome. But now you opened up risk, right? Because I think we all can agree on that. It does open up, maybe very little risk, but it still opens up more risk than there is today.
Yeah, I'm in a third boat here that thinks that those like the BlackRocks and the Sailors will encourage like this chain abstraction movement because like if they can get into a huge corporation that is servicing Bitcoin, right? That approach is where they can, without having to risk the main chain and dealing with these corporations, like you can always clean up like aisle 11 whenever there's like a third party that's servicing the asset, but to clean up like all the aisles on the main chain is going to be really hard. So that's where I think that this middle ground could be really found, to where they see the upside opportunity with chain abstraction and utilizing in these corporations that will come in and be like, okay, we're going to bring TradFi type products utilizing chain abstraction. And, that could be a huge trading platform that BlackRock invests in or something like that, but it won't risk the main, blockchain of Bitcoin.
It's a good point. Babylon is probably the best suited for this in terms of like, I guess you could call it institutional chain abstraction. I didn't realize that they had, I think it's like 50 or 60,000 Bitcoin staked in their protocol. So it's like a non-custodial staking, and then they give you some sort of token on the other side, which then they go and put in these other kind of restaking layers. And, for institutions, maybe that's the direction that they want to go. And you do see Saylor's kind of rhetoric and terminology change, where he's now referring it not just about Bitcoin, but crypto. And he refers to different currencies as, company-backed cryptocurrencies. And this was not something that he was like a year or two ago. It was just like, there's only Bitcoin. There's nothing else that, everything else is kind of second best, or there is no second best. It's just Bitcoin. So I think he's also coming to terms with that. And also he needs to make the number go up to service his own debt from all of the loans that they've taken out. And chain abstraction is obviously the best way to go there. And so I would say Babylon is probably, I think, kind of like servicing those type of players because of the amount of funding that they have raised.
Yeah, Babylon's the reason Bitcoin's number 3 in freaking TVL right now, which is wild to say out loud. If you go to it, Babylon's just killing it. 4.6 billion in TVL just on Babylon.
Wow,
it's pretty wild.
That's crazy. Yeah, they when I was at the conference, they said there was like about 250,000 Bitcoin that was synthesized. So between all of these like wrapped versions and stuff like that, and they're all kind of gunning for WBTC. There was like a few of those actually on stage as well. Like there's the TBTC guys, and there was another one as well. And at the end of the day, you want to see probably 10% of Bitcoin, is a synthetic version being utilized in all of these other ecosystems, whether it's Babylon to secure these other chains, or if it's just a degen who wants to use Bitcoin on Ethereum to generate yield, or kind of whatever the case is. But it's stagnant capital. And this is something that institutions love, is being able to take stagnant capital, put it inside of some sort of yield bearing vehicle, and just have it just park the value there and just continue to generate yield. So, that's what we're all kind of chasing for at the end of the day, whether it's yield that's 2% like Babylon, or whether it's, 50 million API on the new kind of DeFi Ponzi that's on one of these L2s. Like, we all kind of have our own risk appetite. And I think that's just, that's kind of what the definition of a great builder is trying to figure out, what type of yield you can create, and then trying to service that to the different type of community that surrounds you.
Yep. Yeah, man. Well, let's jump into Emblem Vault. So Denver was the first time you actually had your team with you, right? You had Shannon there, you had Bunsey there, you had a whole bunch of your devs that you just hired, brought on new people. So it's like kind of the first bonding opportunity for a team, right? And I think that's really important. How was it? How was it being with the team? And did you guys get a lot of work done?
Yeah, it's great. This was we had the team together one other time, not at a conference, but we had met in Vegas last year, but it was when we were only 5 people or 4 people, not 7. So added a few more developers, and there's just things that are so much easier to do in person than over a call. There's a lot of nuances. Actually, one of the things that I've noticed as a builder is this integration process where you have different developers building different products, and then when it comes to like integrating that product into the actual main vehicle, right? This being kind of Emblem Vault. There's a lot of nuance that goes onto it. And there's a lot of like, hey, let me see what's on your screen. I'll see what's on my screen. Let's kind of come to a conversation, a decision on what needs to be done. And so there's a lot of that. And we, over the last, like, I'd say 3 months or so, we've been building kind of multiple things in parallel. We've been building this bulk minting tool, we've been building Emblem 2.0, and then we have this kind of AI product with Agent Hustle. And, there's this conversation of how do you pair all of this together? What is the right way? And then you have to kind of figure out what's the marketing strategy on top of it, as well as business development. And so we actually finished the bulk minting tool. It should be live here. I hope so, here in the next week or two. It sounds like there's just like a few more steps, as well as Emblem 2.0. The audit is done. We have our wrap-up call with them on Monday. We actually just deployed to base and some collections. So once we have that audit conversation, then we're going to focus on base first, and then we'll be deploying to Merlin and focusing on that second. Base is like a good spot. It's actually the one kind of L2 that has kind of continually had adoption since we started this kind of Emblem 2.0 journey like a year and a half ago. Besides that, everything's been so changing. It's kind of tough to figure out where the right spot is to go. And then with Merlin, we're just going to deploy all these Bitcoin collections, at least all the ones that people want, because there is actual interest there. And so we're going to start making more business decisions. We're going to deploy to all these chains, but deciding where is the right way to go, because at the end of the day, we have to generate revenue. And so that'll kind of dictate where these different deployments go. But we would like to be on all the different EVMs, as well as Solana. We'll also have a priority here in the next month or two. So we made a lot of progress there. And then on the AI side, we have Agent Hustle, that the V2 that we've been building should be live also kind of in the next week or two. We're both, it's kind of crazy that our 2 main products that we've been building are literally almost done. They've been being built in parallel by different dev teams, and they're almost coming to completion pretty much near the same time. So this is with Agent Hustle, I'd consider this kind of this DeFi AI sector that I've been talking about a lot. These are things like Heyanon, Banker is a new one, Griffin, and then Wayfinder, which is by the Prime or Parallel team that hasn't launched yet. Those are kind of the major players. And really all it is what I kind of call a Telegram bot business on steroids. So I don't know if you've like followed the Telegram bot business, but last year, between all the Telegram bots, they generated like 1.2 billion in revenue, and very simple product. And with the DeFi AI, it just takes exactly all of that, and you add an AI kind of terminal to it. And to me, it just like can increase that revenue, by a few multiples. It's going to take some time. So that's the space that I view it, is like, this is something much larger than Telegram bot business. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Telegram bot business also kind of get into the DeFi AI, because they're kind of very similar products. And at the end of the day, it really is just creating a even playing field for the user against bots. And what I mean by that is, historically or traditionally, on the stock market, you have these different types of hedge funds that are using different algorithms and quantitative funds where they have basically an advantage. Or even in the crypto world, you have different type of crypto developers or retail traders who write bots, right? And it gives everyone an advantage. And I think like this DeFi AI terminal really allows users to kind of have that even playing field. For example, you see something with like Banker, who's taken off recently, where you can on Twitter tell the bot to buy the Banker token when it drops 7% or 8%, like that. Right now, the only way to really do that is to sit by your computer if you're not a developer, and it's very annoying and very painful. So with these type of tools, or something like with Hustle, where you can kind of allow it to auto rebalance your LP pool, so you don't have to kind of sit there. These type of things, we believe, will not only increase efficiency and liquidity to the market, but it allows all of us kind of retail traders to really participate in something that has been kind of siloed away from us over, a few decades. And so once we launch Hustle, it's not going to have a lot of these tools initially, but it will have this kind of this unique interface where it has swaps and LPs, and it has a pump fund dashboard, and you can interact with it manually, or you can interact with it through the chat terminal through Agent Hustle. But then on the other side, you can also just talk to Hustle about different types of stats. So we kind of call them your on-chain assistant and on-chain investigator. And so we've built him in a way to where you can also upload images to it, which is going to be kind of interesting. So this kind of stands out, where because you can upload an image, you can essentially upload like a PDF of, some sort of trading style, and then apply that to Hustle and tell him that you want to have your trades, in more of this kind of like, whether it's a market maker style or whatever it is. And then he can kind of ingest that information and apply it to whatever the data is that's on chain. So there's going to be a lot of kind of fun things that you could do here. And we have a lot of users who literally just sit and talk to Hustle all day. And it's not even for things that are like crypto related things. Like, I was listening to some of the audio files. People were asking him like, who killed JFK, stuff like that. So like for us, that's kind of the direction that we want. Is some of these tools are for advanced traders, but we'd like to open up the kind of toolkit for just the average person who, doesn't need their transaction to process within 2 seconds, because you're not trying to snipe the pump fund LP. They're really just trying to understand the market and to make better decisions, so that maybe at the end of the day, their profit margins can increase by 10 or 20% or whatever, just because they have better tooling around them.
Now I kind of want to know his response. What was his response to the?
It's funny because I don't even really remember at the end of the day, but it's so this is the V1. It's funny because once we launched this, that's funny. We'll see what he says. It's cool that they have the mind. So this is the V1. We launched this literally on December 31st, and we haven't made any changes yet. So he doesn't have access on the V1 to a lot of kind of outside information, but somebody was actually asking him through the audio version, which was kind of interesting.
Sitting there, it's Friday night on your couch.
People literally just sit there and have conversations with him all day. It's been an interesting few months, kind of learning everything about AI. It's been a crash course. It's crazy that it's literally only been 3 months since we launched this token. It feels like literally 3 years by just the amount and
Welcome to crypto. Yeah.
the slaughter of all these AI coins. Like I was looking at it yesterday, the Tensor token went from 18 mil to 700,000, so at a 96% drop. But you look at some of these other AI tokens have just the same. Zero Bro went down like 98%.
Yeah. I mean,
And
virtual is 70 cents. I mean, I didn't think that would ever happen.
yeah, it's right. It was at 6 billion or something like that.
They got caught in kind of like a hard spot because they weren't getting the support from base, and so then they made this move that I felt like was kind of like a power move in their sense, from their perspective of going extending to Solana, and I don't know. I feel like now they're not like they've been kind of taken out of the scope as much, right? But I wanted to ask you about Hustle. So, like, could Hustle like actually utilize Photon and be like the sniper AI as well, and kind of replace like the human side of that?
Yeah. I mean that's the goal. So you have to kind of build these different. We call them mini apps on the left hand side. So if you go to one of my recent posts, if you go on Twitter, I took a screenshot of kind of this V2 model, and basically on the left hand side we have these different mini apps where it's like balances and swaps and LP, and we have this pump fund kind of thing. And so you have to kind of go in and find these different APIs for these different types of DeFi tools to then build it into your front end. And then you have to actually have the AI interact with the mini apps themselves. And so we actually custom built Hustle. I think the base model is through Anthropic, but Shannon's kind of built it to its own kind of standalone thing. Like we used Eliza, but it doesn't really use it too much. Go down one more. Yeah, so click on that. Click on that image. So this is kind of like what the V2 looks like. So you see the balances. That's kind of where your Solana will be stored, as well as your kind of LP tools. And you can get like the API key to the vault, which then you can use in the Telegram bot. And the neural kind of thing is what you saw in the V1, where it just shows kind of his mind. And then you have the swaps and LP, and then there's a pump fund tool. Yeah, that's neural. We might change the name to that. And so basically there's kind of two things. You can control the mini apps manually, which we thought was very important. One of the things that we had noticed is that when you go to some of these mini apps or when you go to some of these DeFi AI kind of tools, and this is no offense to them, this is just an observation, you kind of sit there and are not sure what to do. And this is just me kind of playing around with all of them. Like if it's just a ChatGPT terminal, and if you ask what it could do, it doesn't really kind of hit home for me. So we felt like it was very important to build these mini apps so that a user is familiar with these different types of tools of like swaps and LPs. But then you have this AI interface on the right-hand side that you could communicate with to ask questions. Because one of the issues with a lot of things is people are afraid to ask questions because they don't want to feel dumb, right? And so if you have this LP tool here and you've never LP'd before, you could sit there and talk with Hustle, and he'll explain to you how everything's doing it or how to actually do it. And he can also give you some recommendations on different types of, volumes and things like that. And we felt like that was very important. And then eventually as well, you'll be able to, I think upon launch in the chat terminal, you'll also say, hey, Hustle, take one Sol plus X amount of bonk in my wallet, and then go LP it. And so you could just do these kind of base interactions, and we're starting at it somewhat slow so that people kind of become familiar. And then the next iteration of this will then be what's called conditional based trading, which is the things of, hey, Hustle, take one Sol plus bonk and LP it. But then once my LP gets out of position, then rebalance it. And once it's rebalanced, take the rewards and then, reintegrate it back into the system, or whatever the terminology is. And conditional based trading is what you see on Banker, where it's, hey, buy $100 of Banker when it drops 7%, and then when it pumps 100%, then sell all of it, or something like that. So we're building kind of a very custom solution to this that works with not just swaps and bridging, but works with pretty much anything for LPs and pump fund and a lot of these other things. So it's exciting. And then you see up here at the top right-hand corner where it says ops, we're actually renaming that to directives. This will be kind of like a task list that will get users familiar with how to use all of these different mini apps. And it actually is going to be very simple, to where you click a button and it'll do it for you initially to get you through the process. And then it makes the users familiarized with what's going on here. And we have a ton of ideas. Obviously, you just need to have a little bit of success and adoption. And there's a bunch of users that we have that are very excited for this. And overall, we think this competes with the top four, or the key three right now, between Banker, Griffin, and Hayanon. And then you'll have Wayfinder coming. And we think Hustle is very competitive against all of these. And at a $1 million market cap, the rest of these are, I think, over 25 mil, upwards of 100 mil. We think that once some users are familiar with this, they'll look around the other ones and they'll be quite pleased with what's there.
Yeah. I don't think especially if the tech is going to be competing with those top two, and the entry is 1 million, you got to really think about that risk and reward type of situation, not financial advice. But, so do you think that the reason why the other two might have the higher market cap and the, type of situation is because they took the VC route and you guys kind of took the grassroots route?
I would say there's kind of there's maybe two things. One is, yes, the VC funding helps. I don't know if Hayanon did VC. I know Griffin is. I don't know. I think Banker was just like a generated tool.
Hayanon did an ICO.
They did?
Yeah, they're huge ICO. It was monstrous.
Banker did, or
no? Hayanon with Danielle.
That makes sense. Yeah, so that guy, he's been around for a while, right? He was a very, very famous DeFi kind of personality who's built a bunch of tooling. Huge, right? So the advantage that these two, Hayanon and Griffin, you could throw in Wayfinder from Parallel. They have this like marketing edge because they've been around. These teams have been around for a while. Parallel also has like massive VC funding. So this gives them the initial edge, but at the end of the day, the product is what wins. And if users see that there's tooling that gives them an advantage to increase their own P&L, then they will go to whatever product that it exists. I've learned this through Emblem Vault, that a user will take 30 minutes to vault an asset if they know that there's money on the other side of that. And the market has just shown that over and over again. So these guys have had an advantage from a marketing standpoint because, totally kind of king makes Griffin for a while, right? This is basically it, and I have no issue with that. This is just kind of what had happened. Totally was promoting Griffin for a long time, so they got that marketing boost. Hayanon, obviously, with Daniel, he has been around for a while, so he has his own kind of following. And then with Wayfinder and Parallel, they've had their own success. So these guys, and Emblem has had its own success as well, but we lack some of that VC funding and some of that spotlight. So we basically just have to build our way to the top, and we're going to continue to do that. And, there's to me and to the team, we believe that we have an edge with Shannon, who's our founder, who's been building in AI before he got into crypto, and also got into crypto in 2012. So the combination of both of these, we believe, gives us a big edge comparative to everything else that we've seen. And overall, when I look at the DeFi AI sector, if you compare it to the Telegram bot business, there was 10 different Telegram bots that generate over 2 million in revenue last year. I think this is right now a PvE sector for builders, where if you get in early and you command a user base, if you're in the top 5 or top 10, I think everyone will do pretty well. For us, we have this advantage of Emblem Vault, so we're also going to expand this to Bitcoin and to Ethereum as well. And we have a very strong relationship with the Bitcoin community, and we know how to build and integrate runes and ordinals into this, where maybe some of these other teams do not, and they want to just focus solely on Solana and ETH. So And then obviously we can integrate Emblem into this as well. So I'm actually excited to see how the Bitcoin products get increased into this.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, 100%. And it's crazy that you say like Shan was working on AI like before he bought Bitcoin, and he bought Bitcoin in 2012. Just I can't imagine what it was like to work on AI in like 2011. It's pretty insane to even think that that was even around back then, but it was obviously. Yeah, guys working for the last 20 years on it. I actually can't wait to get Shannon on the show to kind of get like an in-depth look of like what it was.
I hope so,
exactly
man.
like.
He's a
Yeah.
good he's a good conversation. He just is so locked down. We have these kind of like two I guess you call them two bottlenecks right now, which is just getting these two products out. Once those are live, then it allows him to have a lot more freedom, because then these two dev teams can kind of work independently outside of him. Yeah, what Shannon was doing in the mid 2000s, he was actually doing exactly what Wayfinder is. It's actually called pathfinding. So Shannon was actually building, it's called Pathfinders, to mine in-game currencies for MMO RPGs. And this is exactly what Wayfinder is. Wayfinder is you basically build these paths of whatever the kind of specification is. And then Wayfinder then rewards the person who built that with like a 1% royalty or something like that. So Shannon was doing this literally 20 years ago. It's cool that they turned that into kind of a token economy and a product with, I think, Prompt is their token. But it all, like, at the end of the day, it all just makes me very excited to move forward with all of this. We have such an insane opportunity. And if you fast forward a few years from now, I'm pretty convinced that the next cycle is the intelligence cycle, just as this cycle was the attention cycle, and the cycle before that was the utility cycle. You're going to have AI integrated into all these different products. They'll all be in different types of ways. And then you also have agents who will be existing autonomously. Like, even woke up this morning and the Grok Twitter launched a coin. Well, you got psyoped into it from Banker, I guess. But, these kind of things, that's like what you consider a swarm. These things will be much larger at scale a few years from now. And it'll definitely make the timeline a lot more entertaining.
I guess so. Right now, I get so many bots in my replies. I'm like, oh, it's a bot. I get all this point. I'm like, people are back. No, it's just a bot. And I can't imagine what that's going to be like in a few years. It's going to be absolutely insane. I love the AI stuff. I love what you guys are building, but I'm really intrigued by this base launch that's coming up. So you guys are going to be that's what you said. It's going to be the first place you deploy some of these NFTs or ordinals. What's that going to be like? And like what assets do you think are going to be there first?
So we have 5. We have like what we call the priority collections, which we'll be deploying to every chain, which is like Rare Pepe, Fake Rare, Spells of Genesis for ERC 155. And then we have MBells, which is our ERC 721, and an open collection, which allows us to kind of test and take any collection there. And then from those 5, outside of those 5, we're just going to really go by demand of what we think. So base is a little bit more ETH focused. So we have a few ETH subscription collections that have requested to come over to base, as well as we'd like to deploy CryptoPunks in a lot of these traditional, or you call them legacy NFT collections like apes and stuff like that. Whether they hit or not, it's to be determined, but we have had a bunch of requests for CryptoPunks on base. And then from there on Merlin, it's really probably deploying all of the main Ordinal collections plus whatever collection anybody wants. For us, it's really about going into these different ecosystems, talking with these different applications, as well as the founders of the network, to decide on what really they're trying to optimize for. For example, on Merlin, there's a bunch of people building Bitcoin-based products. Whereas on base, it's kind of this like generalized financial kind of L2, where a lot of the liquidity is starting to flow to. So will they like ordinals? Probably. But, will ordinal users want to bridge over to base? To be really determined. But what's the likelihood of them moving over to Merlin, because there's these kind of Bitcoin-based applications, right? Essentially, it's chain abstraction at the end of the day. And you see this happening with Odin. It's pretty much a no-brainer that's going to happen with NFTs. You build the liquidity and you build liquidity and you make it easy on the user. People will move it over there. So after that, we have like Arbitrum, ApeChain, and Abstract we'd like to deploy to. Some of these teams have reached out to us in terms of like they would like to bring over Ordinals. We kind of still have to figure out the marketing strategy, or companion strategy, I suppose. And then Solana, I think, is really a big one as well. It's a different build, so it takes a little bit longer. But trading puppets or node monkeys on Solana sounds something to be quite attractive, because the cultures are quite combined with one another. They're synonymous. A lot of the people who came over to Ordinals came over from Solana. A lot of the Ordinals and Runes traders also dabble in kind of the Solana trenches on Pump Fund. So there's a lot of crossover there, and that might not need as much marketing and strategy as it is just to kind of exist.
Yeah.
So that go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But is there going to be some sort of like branding strategy or marketing strategy for these ordinal collections that are in these different environments? For example, if I'm on Abstract, or not necessarily Merlin, because we've already seen that, but like a base, right? And I see like a crypto punk, right? Or let's just say I see a Bitcoin frog on base, right? And I'm like, oh, someone just made a Bitcoin frog collection on base. Like, I'm not going to buy that. What? And then is there some sort of like stamp or something that you guys could be like, original Bitcoin layer 1 collection or something like that you guys have in mind?
It's tough, because as you go into these different layer 2s, the infrastructure is not as strong as it is on Ethereum mainnet. So a lot of the things that you could do don't really exist. So it comes down to really just networking and marketing for the most part. Obviously, you can verify that it's an Emblem Vault collection, but sometimes it's a lot more. It's not as easy as going to. We have a channel with OpenSea, right? So we could go to OpenSea and ask them to verify these different collections. But if OpenSea isn't on this chain, right, then you have to go to whoever the marketplace is, and you have to kind of get in touch with them. Sometimes, so with the smaller ecosystems, when you get in touch with whoever the marketplace provider is, they can give you a little bit more flexibility in what you need. Whereas OpenSea, it's kind of like going through a ticketing system at times, where it is a little bit kind of painful. But it really just comes down to the community you're interacting with. Like, for example, the first 2 collections we'll be deploying to base outside of our priority ones is MF Pers and Peepers. These are 2 e-scriptions collections that we've been familiar with and friends with the founder. And they're already promoting it, and they're already really excited. They're each like a collection of 3,000, and they all want to move over there. What's the likelihood all of them move over? Who really knows? But what we've learned is this industry is much like a domino effect, where if Peepers and MF Pers move over and they start having success, or somehow they make it to the top of the trading board because there's excitement, then there's going to be probably 5 other teams who want to do the same thing on base, right? And it's the same thing with Merlin. It's, hey, if we deploy 15 ordinal collections over there, and then Bitmap or Bitcoin Frogs or whoever it is, their community moves over there and starts trading, then all of the other ones are probably going to want to start moving over there as well. And it really takes 1 or 2 to really pop it through. It's tough at times to figure out who that one is, but this is where we have collaborations like what we're doing here, or we talk with the different applications of making sure these collections are on all of the lending platforms, or like that there's a point system that these users can get for moving these assets over, or kind of whatever it is. There needs to be some sort of incentive if the community doesn't have this kind of like natural interest in moving over there. And this is the tough part with like NFT interoperability, and why I think really nobody else is pursuing it.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Oh, one thing I want to touch on is you guys have a TGE in September for your Rune token. So you guys kind of you placed your bets on the Bitcoin Rune token standard, and right now you can trade that secondary on OpenSea in an ERC 721 format. But I want to kind of get back to the Rune side, because we've seen, Odin.fund, have this platform of kind of servicing runes in a sense, but it's going backwards to where if it bonds, then they etch the rune. Do you guys still feel the same way about Rune's future? Because you guys obviously kind of place some bets there. And what do you see next happening? Right? Do you see that Rune shot from near kind of being something, and then multiple things, and they're all going to form an ecosystem, or one wins?
It's a good question, and it's actually exactly everything that we predicted internally is kind of what's happening now. We decided to launch a Rune, and we put it inside of an NFT that unlocks in September when the TG happens. And the main thesis was like there's kind of 2 or 3 things happening. One was that the Rune's ecosystem is not that mature yet, and we felt like launching the token in December would have just been quite drastically and harmful to the community, as we'd saw a bunch of Rune utility tokens had launched and they have not done well at all, and people start to lose interest. And then the second thing was that we knew that we had to take a bet basically that Trump was going to win the election, which we thought pretty strongly was going to happen, and that if he did win, it was probably going to take 6 to 9 months for a market structure bill to happen. And so, right, we launched they're called the Founder Vaults. We launched those in December, but we started planning for it last summer. And the market structure bill now should be in sight around the TG, right? It's supposed to be happen in July or August. So those 2 things that we planned for are happening. And with Runes, excuse me, the one thing that we liked about Runes is that it doesn't have native liquidity pools. So you can basically take the token itself and you can bridge it to whatever chain that you want for whatever is popular. And so when we put the Runes in the Founder Vault and put it for September, we thought that that would be enough time for the ecosystem to determine who the winner is in terms of where these things are going to trade, whether it's something natively like on Arch, whether Magic Eden creates something, or whether the community decides to trade on Solana, or whatever this kind of chain abstraction is. And that's kind of the battle that's happening exactly right now. And for us, we still have 6 months to really see who the winner is. And with Runes specifically, because it doesn't have a native liquidity pool, there's always kind of a buyer of last resort because they trade like NFTs. With Solana and Ethereum tokens, if the liquidity pool drains, then the token's essentially dead, right? There's nowhere really to trade these tokens OTC. Whereas with Runes, if you bridge them over to Solana and the liquidity pool's dead, you can still go to this kind of like bid system for these tokens and buy them in packets, right? So it's almost like kind of like an auction system where there's always going to be a buyer of last resort that can actually buy them. Whereas if there's no liquidity for your ERC20 token or SBL, you literally can't buy it. Like there's no point. So it has a much higher startup cost. And now there's this battle happening, whether you have ICP is battling. People are trying on Solana. I believe you have Stacks, and people are going to try with Cardano and whatever these other chains are. I think there will be a winner at some point in time, but if not, then for us, at the end of the day, we're just going to deploy to then wherever people are trading. At this point, it's probably Solana. And, for us, we're actually going to most likely build our own bridge using Emblem 2.0 technology. And for us, the benefit is that we can bridge over and predetermine how much of it we want. So you have 20% of these tokens in the Founder Vaults. That'll be Bitcoin native. The other 80% or so, we can just go ahead and bridge it over and airdrop it to Solana wallets if we wanted to. And so there's no issue of people moving and migrating like you see with like what happened with Pups and what happened with all these, like even Dog only got 0.6% of the supply migrated over. But because our airdrops are happening later in the year, we could literally just we could bridge 40% of the token and then airdrop it to Solana wallets. And now basically the Rune is mostly trading on Solana, and you don't have to go through kind of that issue. So we do have a lot of options. And I really am encouraged by the direction that everything is going. I know a lot of people might not because the volume sucks or whatever, but from a builder standpoint, this is everything that we wanted. And so we'll see who kind of wins over the next 6 months.
Yeah, 100%. And I do love that now. They got, like Rune's Mines, they got the bridge to Solana. You can, I know Bob's going to be opening up runes over there. So as a rune, it doesn't mean you're stuck on layer 1 Bitcoin, right? It means you can be anywhere and everywhere at once, including places like you have a relationship on base and stuff like that. I'm sure there's going to be people building that. I know there's a couple out there that are actually doing it right now. So potentially you could have your rune everywhere. And then people are like, oh, wow, that's a rune. That's a Bitcoin ecosystem token that actually has utility. It's not just a Bitcoin meme coin. It actually gives it even more value on that aspect as well.
Yeah, it's and for us, it's about building a token that's not as much for the degenerates as it is for collectors and long-term holders. So what you see happen generally is when tokens are bridged, then volatility is decreased, because in order for the price to move up, you need to have arbitrage traders come in and basically arb the difference between all of these different chains. And so right now, that's not really that effective. And so that's why you see some of these prices of these tokens, like Pups, has kind of just been stuck in this one kind of price range forever. And I suspect that these arbitrators will eventually figure it out as Rune expands, and it can then be a little bit more volatile. But if you're a long-term holder, then you're not really interested as much in the day-to-day volatility. You just want this little kind of staircase up in terms of price, and bridged assets really helps that. And yeah, again, couldn't be more excited. I know it's tough because trading natively sucks, but I really just look at that as like kind of the last resort market. It's almost kind of like a liquidation sale. This is going back to kind of like my antique store days, but
yeah,
when you go to like these auctions and liquidations and stuff, right? Those are the buyers of last resort who are basically buying it at whoever the last bidder is. That is not what tokens on Ethereum and Solana do. There is no buyer like that, right? You're essentially you're basically trading based off of the liquidity that's in this pool, not of the liquidity that's in somebody's pocket, which is what Runes allows you to do. And so I really like the ecosystem. And even if Runes fails, it works for us because we're a Bitcoin interoperability protocol, and it allows our Bitcoin user base to buy our token in their native currency.
Yeah. I actually look at it a little bit different, and I could be completely wrong, but could there be a home base? I think so. Maybe that's Arch, like you mentioned, because I feel like from a like Odin.fun is cool, but they're not like an ecosystem, right? It's like a platform. Arch is like an ecosystem to where Saturn could be there and multiple dexes, right? So that could be home base, but I still think that like Near Protocol, ICP, Cardano, they're looking for more reasons and talking points to be relevant, right? And because you got to remember there's a saturation of chains. And so that's why I think they're coming out with these the support, number one, and these protocols to support Bitcoin's limitations for their assets, right? And so there could be a situation to where, let's say, like, I don't know, the Cardano community clings to $1 Billion Cat, and the $1 Billion Cat has most success over there, and they kind of like champion that because it's like all of them are going to originally be like a Bitcoin Rune and have that one-to-one backing at that bridge point, right? So that's how I see the future, is kind of like they're trying to service and be more relevant to the crypto space, because if they don't, then they're going to fade into the background. Because right now you have Bitcoin for what it is, king asset. You have Ethereum in the EVM ecosystem, which that's not going anywhere. And then you have SVM and Solana, and that's not going anywhere. Yeah, you have Sui and some other ones that are making noise, but then Cardano, Litecoin, these all have like their assets, but they're not like, what else are they good for? They want to add to that resume, right? And I think like one of the biggest things to add to the resume is we want to service Bitcoin layer 1 assets. We want to make Bitcoin DeFi better. And I could see the ecosystem being an expansion of like, all these, like, you're here to serve us Bitcoin kind of situation, like these layers. But obviously only time will tell. But even with that, I still think we need a home base, and that could be Arch. We'll see though.
Resolving back to Bitcoin is, I think, my favorite quality of runes, where if everything goes wrong on all these other chains, then you can always go back to this home base. And I totally agree. That's where it is. And the home base is also up for grabs, whether it's Arch or one of these other meta protocols. I really hope it's Arch. I like the guys. The technology sounds cool. I know they've been having some kind of technical delays, but from some conversations I was having with some other users, there's also people who are trying to compete for that home base.
Yeah.
Right? But whether that home base, liquidity kind of cap is anything like, is it billions of dollars in trading volume, right? Or is it just tens of millions of dollars? Who really knows? Based off of it, but that is a place that where people can kind of fight it out to become the top dog there.
Amen.
We have a question here from one of our community members, Superfan, which is a great builder. He says, "Hi, Jake. I'm building an agents platform, wondering if the agentic wallets here can use Agent Hustle via API. FYI, every Big Noodle and Heroes Ordinal is an agent with a tap wallet."
So the answer is yes. There are. So he wants to use Agent Hustle. Yeah. So Shannon, who's our founder, is building what's it called? A widget and web extension to where you can, and a plugin to where you can plug in Agent Hustle to wherever you want. You just shoot me a DM and we'll talk. When it gets done into technicals, I usually just refer to Shannon to have these conversations, and he likes to just build things for what people are requesting. So yeah, just reach out. But the answer is yes. And then with our AI wallets as well, it also supports Bitcoin, and we'll continue to grow that as well. Like once we have that ready, Utoshi is supposed to use our AI wallets for some of his AI Bitcoin products.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah. So Superfan, reach out to Jake via Twitter and send him a DM, and you guys can get that conversation going.
Yep. Yeah, it's exciting time, dude.
At Jake Sats, right?
It's just at Jake Allen _
Jake Allen. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I got rid of the Sats, dropped the Sats, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah,
it
was a good time. It was a good run, but I really thought something would happen with .sats, but it seems like the community really kind of fizzled out really fast.
Yeah, it really did. Yep. All right, man. It's been absolutely amazing. Another successful Emblem Hour. I feel like we educated, and I actually learn a lot every time you come on, man. I mean, I'm excited for what you guys are building with the NFTs and the bridging, and really the only ones that are actually doing it, which is awesome to see. And then the AI stuff, it's going to look great. I can't wait for to see the final things of it. So it's going to be fun to see. But we'd love to give you the stage one last time and talk to our audience as our thank you for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, God help me get these products out as soon as possible. That's the goal, man. It's a tough aspect of building is the dev delays. It's not dev delays, just the development time it takes for something is always much longer. And again, when it comes down to like these integrations and things, there's no kind of straightforward way to go about it. So it takes a lot of time, as well as managing humans is also kind of the X factor to it all.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be more excited. Emblem, we're here every day building. Please reach out to me if you have any type of questions. We're excited to put our entrance into the DeFi AI sector, as well as to continue to build out Emblem 2.0, or Emblem is the largest NFT bridge and pretty much the only one that'll allow you to trade any asset on any chain. So the future is bright, and I appreciate you guys as always for giving me the time.
Awesome. All right, Jake. Well, we'll talk to you soon, sir.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye.
Well, absolutely awesome as always, man. Really loved the Emblem Hour. Hope you guys do too. It does seem like you guys do. 529 people in here right now. Appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing weekend. Take some time off though, because it doesn't look like it's going to be great. We'll see what happens in about 4 minutes. I'm going to go stare at some X posts and see what is happening. But yeah.
When does that event start?
4 minutes.
Oh, the crypto event? I thought it was tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
1:30.
I must have missed my invite to that.
Yeah, I didn't get invited either. It's really weird.
No, but yeah, man, as Shizzy said, you guys are killing it. Just supporting us. 530 people on a Friday, and shout out to Jake Gallen and Emblem Vault. And we'll just go right into that. If you wouldn't mind checking out our partners, guys, Emblem Vault is going to be the interoperability tool for Bitcoin Layer 1 assets, most specifically to start off with ordinals. You're going to be able to jump your ordinals, your node monks, your puppets, your Bitcoin frogs over to abstract, Bitcoin Layer 2, Merlin to base chain is what they're going to start off with. And eventually, like Solana, these guys are going to brand themselves everywhere, right? So really, really big that could be huge for their Rune TGE in September this year. And you can trade that right now, kind of like a pre-sale on OpenSea as an ERC 721. You just have to search Emblem Vault Founder Keys, and you'll be able to find that. And then during the TGE, you're going to be able to open that, and those runes will be able to go into your Bitcoin wallet. So super exciting stuff there. You can learn about all this at emblem.vision. And the BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They just added a 10-minute markets, guys. So you can bet Bitcoin going up or down for 10 minutes. And very dangerous right now, so be careful if you do that. You could literally flip the switch any moment. Like indicators probably out the window at this point. But yeah, that is exciting though. You don't have to wait a whole day anymore. Also, they're going to add, create your own markets. You're going to be able to earn up to 1.5% of the total volume. Super exciting stuff with that. Make sure you're at least interacting. If you sign up for an account, you earn points right away, and that goes towards their future TGE as well. So make sure you're checking out betbtc.win to learn more. And then Artura Finance, the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. They're going to be launching on their mainnet on a layer 2 very, very soon. Right now, you can test it out with the paper trading. Go to artura.finance and connect your wallet there, and they'll allow you to claim some testnet Bitcoin and USDT. If you just make one trade in testnet, your address goes into a raffle to win possible TGE tokens of the Artura token in the future. They are going to be adding some other features like being able to earn passive income through adding liquidity to their vault. Super exciting stuff. You can learn more at artura.finance. And then Fluid Tokens, they are the first project on Bitcoin native layer 1 to allow you guys to stake runes and ordinals for retail users. It's super amazing, guys. They just closed up their season 2 of Dog Go to the Moon, but they're going to have staking vaults open up very soon. If you are a founder of an ordinal collection or you etched a rune and you have an established community, reach out to Raul, which is the CTO of Fluid Tokens, and he will get you set up for a staking vault. You can learn more at fluidtokens.com. And Merlin Chain, your #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder for Bitcoin Layer 1 and you want your protocol to be a bit more flexible, reach out to Merlin Chain's team and apply for a builder's grant. A couple of our partners got into that program, so it's definitely possible. You just got to apply and have some real intention to be innovative there. Also, if you're a retail user and you want to swap for some Dog Go to the Moon rune, they have a liquidity pool on merlinswap.org that you can swap for utilizing your Merlin token or your Wrap BTC. And don't forget, they have their proof of staking to secure their chain right now. So if you have Merlin tokens, you can stake your Merlin tokens at merlinchain.io to earn 15% APR. Pretty good deal there. Learn more at merlinchain.io. And lastly, don't forget about our integrated partners, Foxy AI, building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, as well as their first-person shooter game called Clan Wars. And Ordinal Hive, the cheapest ordinals around. They are an aggregator for ordinals on Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2, as well as their trading tools. You can go to their website and see if anybody fat-fingered a node monk or a puppet and try to take advantage of that. But we want to thank you guys again for checking out our partners. It helps us so much.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out OnChainRevolution.io. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering your space, please send them our website. We really feel like it help them get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, I recommend Nord. It's my favorite. There is free ones out there, but I think Nord, $3 a month is super cheap. And with Nord, you're actually getting a network of actually other options as well. I was actually looking into. They actually can do a lot more. So check out our website here. Check out Nord and get yourself a VPN. If you, like I said, if you don't get Nord, get another one. There's a bunch of free ones out there, just not as good. But I recommend Nord and use our link. And if you guys need tickets to Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But do not wait to May to get your tickets. Get them as soon as possible. They seem to go up. I think they probably went up again today, honestly. So get them as soon as possible. They'll probably be higher next week. So you definitely want to get them. Do not wait, guys. Get them if you're going to go. The festival pass is the cheaper one, but the industry pass will get you on day one. Me and Yago, we really enjoyed day one. It was our favorite day there. So definitely, if you're interested in smaller crowds, you definitely want to get there on day one. And if you guys need merch for that event or any event, we have everything at our store. Click that. That'll take you to our Shopify, and you guys can get as much gear as you want. We even have the old school Ordinal Revolution shirts if you're interested in being an OG. But check out everything here at onchainrevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys, until Monday.
Peace.
OnChain revolution, roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough, no. You're not bullish enough, no. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and arching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.